Yo guys, how's it going? Mela camera on, mic on. You see we're improving finally. So, today we have a guest that a lot of people know. It doesn't need an introduction. Most of the people I had actually didn't need an introduction, to be honest. He's also going to be joining us on the next game show. We have NGEN15. Hello NGEN. We have his nice
Hello.
big stream room.
Quantum says you're muted.
I'm not, I know I'm not. He's trying to fool with me again. He's trying to fuck with me. NGEN, your room. I'm
Hi,
seeing your
yes.
room.
Hi.
Say hello to everyone.
From a different angle. Hi everyone. Hello.
That's a nice room, man.
Swap to...
I miss not having my own fucking lair, which was out of the house, a nice big room equal to myself. I had my fucking everything, my punching bag, my gym, everything around me. Oh, it was so nice.
I don't have a punching bag. I'm assuming by the first nickname I see in chat right now, that's Andre, the guy who said ole.
Ole?
And and Andre is Andre is actually the only direct colleague I have at work. So the only other DevOps guy I have at work. So there you
hello,
go. Yeah,
Andre.
see, there you go. And Andre,
Welcome to the stream.
we got him all the way from Brazil.
Oh, really?
He lived in Poland, but we got him from Brazil.
Can I get you in trouble with Andre, or what's the position? Is he like really high up for you? I'll try to get him in trouble, Andre.
Technically, no. Technically, I'm the lead.
Okay, I'll still try to get you in trouble.
That's the thing. With only two people, I really don't consider having a lead role
I know
at
what you mean.
all. Like, I have
It's
to
a
go
team.
into meetings because the only reason I'm the lead is because I joined before he did. So.
All right, put it this way: it's a team, but if shit happens and you have to take the blame, you take it.
If
You get the blame.
If I fuck up, I get the blame.
If he fucks up, you still
I
get the blame.
So,
Win-win for you.
yeah.
So, welcome to the channel. We have podcasts on this channel, we have game shows on this channel, and we have also board games, and every now and then we have some video games. Play some Tarkov, some Call of Duty. But today it's the LocksTALK podcast with NGEN. So, for anyone who doesn't know NGEN or who doesn't follow NGEN, you have all his socials at the bottom of the screen. Please go follow the man. If you don't know him, somewhere or another NGEN affected you in the local scene. He either took care of shit that you've been taking part of, he's either somehow helped someone who helped you. So I'm surprised if people don't know NGEN. For the young ones though who don't know NGEN, this is the guy behind the scenes in most of Malta's online broadcasts, esports events. You've done everything. You've done from politics to PlayCon to games to all
And
of it.
some very high profile clients which people don't really see. Like Nike is one of them
Nice,
for
alright.
the region, and I mean Rolex for the Middle Sea race. So that's quite.
Yeah, and OBS,
That's-
which I would
that's
like to
the-
talk about.
The Rolex one is my favorite one because
Did they give you
it-
Rolex?
no, but it has the highest budget, so you get to play with like multiple drones and cameras on ribs out on the sea, and you get to see all these cool things. We try to choose the best for the guys to see, but I get to see all the cameras at the same time. So for me, it's just
Alright.
wow.
Even just working around Rolexes, I fucking love it. I love Rolexes, man. I love watches. They're
I-
too
I-
nice.
I
They're too
was
nice.
Never close to the watches, but the yachts.
Yo, Mick, just
And
us
Mick-
politics.
Mick's touching politics.
Yes,
But
of course.
I was the vision director for the debate at the
debates.
university. Yeah.
So during the debates, NGEN was
I was
taking care of
choosing
what
who appears.
exactly.
That's the highest pressure you can have at an event
Because it's a
But-
debate or because it's political?
because it's political.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So you have to make sure. So four people on stage, they have timers. So you have to give them enough time, but you also have to be really sharp with getting them on camera.
So were you actually taking care of how much time they have also? Or-
One of our team was actually taking
Alright,
care
so
of the
he's
time.
doing it and you're just doing
But
the shots.
yeah, but of course, he's waiting for them to stop speaking, and maybe the host is like, okay, your time is done,
Okay.
and they're
You're
swapping to someone else.
and
but
he's
we
still
don't
talking.
have. Yeah, I mean, but we don't have. Yeah, sometimes they're still talking, but we don't have enough cameras, like one on each, like you would have in a
Okay,
higher scale
alright,
thing.
okay.
So I have two cameras, one on each side, and they're assigned to I mean,
Are they
I'm
are they
speaking to them on
automatic?
comms.
Are they
No,
automatic?
no, no. They
or-
are camera people.
Ah,
that
so
I'm
you
with
have
on
to tell
comms,
them
and
to actually switch.
Yeah. They're on tripods, and I have to move around. So I'm like, yeah,
Oh.
this guy, and the beginning's sort of easy because they open in sequence, left to right.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
fine. But then when they start bringing up points, then it's like, so you have to look at the wide shot while coordinating the side shots. But the wide shot I have to look at just to figure out, like, if someone's really quiet on the side, then maybe he's not going to speak. But if someone's getting a bit agitated by the argument, I'm like, okay, this guy is
It's about to speak. But this is really weird, man. We're talking about quite high budget shit and they don't have 4 cameras. I've done music videos solo with 4 cameras.
It's different. It's not budget that comes from the political parties. It's the university, the
As
KSU
university, the
budget.
campus.
It's a KSU budget. So you have to
Oh shit.
you have to create something that's high level enough.
But with a budget.
But
oh,
with a
I'm used to doing
very,
that.
very
Okay,
high
I completely understand you. He
It's
calls
hard,
it the
so.
Pep Piazza party of esports. I hope you're talking about him, not about me being the Pep Piazza party of esports.
I don't want to be a Piazza party of anything.
And by the way, Quantum, thank you. I received before we even started the sub. Thank you very much, sir.
I need a coaster.
Get your coaster. Get your coaster. You uncovered your guitars.
As a gamer that I am.
I don't use. All right, you have the gaming coasters.
The gaming coaster because gamer, right?
I want to print a couple of cool ones now.
Yeah.
They're fun. But I want to change something in my printer so I can print with a bit of flexible, like it's rubbery. Because what I have now isn't working well that way.
We have rubbery Mintoff heads.
Oh, good. What's
They were made as a test print by Invent3D. I gave it
Oh
to my
yeah,
mom.
because you worked fucking with Invent3D. Of
I
course,
gave
of
it to
course.
my mom. She has it in a glass display.
Oh my god.
There's an orange squishy Mintoff head. There's a
Man,
squishy head.
I have friends who, like, once a friend of mine got married, and you know how you meet at the parents' houses before you get married, and we go to, and she had a Joseph sign, and with 2 candles in front of it, but behind this Joseph sign, there was a
The big
Mintoff
Mintoff.
sign.
Yes.
A big one, man. It was fucking hilarious. It was so good. Yeah, I won't say his name, Skin. But it's fucking funny. And actually, my neighbors once, the first time I had walked into their house, I was a kid. They had this fucking, I'm talking about a 1.5 by 1 meter sort of shit as soon as you go in of
Wow.
Carmeno Mifsud Bonici.
Like
As soon as you walk in, just this fucking giant
hardcore
big
support.
portrait.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Big portrait. So, Engine. Let's start off with how I usually start off, since
Sure.
right now we're dealing with mostly esports people. Most of the people watching are video game people, I guess. So I remember once we had the AFK series, so I already know a bit about you, apart from being friends, obviously.
That was the FK. That was a nice little.
But I'd like people to hear, like, because I normally ask people how did it all start, and I kind of know with you how it all started. So you had your dad who sort of like play, and you guys used to watch him. So
And my
give
mom
us-
as well.
and also your mom, yes,
And
exactly.
my mom still games. My dad, not so much, but my mom still plays on her phone.
Man, you know who I was impressed. So Matt Cupert from what's it called, from Cloud9. He's telling me his parents used to game. They don't anymore, but his grandfather still plays WoW, man.
Oh yes, my guy.
And it's weird because I always told my wife, like before when we were just girlfriend boyfriend, I had played WoW a bit. I really think it's cool. I really think it's too time consuming, and I have a very addictive personality, so I have to stay the fuck away from those games. And I told her, when I'm old and I'm on my fucking
Get
pension,
into it.
it's just gonna be WoW till I die. That's it. That's when I'm gonna be playing WoW.
But I
a lot.
know a lot of old people who play WoW actually, because we mentioned it. When I started playing late in Wrath of the Lich King, so that's late Wrath of the Lich King, so 2010. And I moved to a guild in 2011. I changed realms. I was on a dead realm, and I got into the guild that I'm still in today. We actually merged into another guild as a new guild, but still the same people from 10, 11 years ago. One of
Nice,
them
yeah.
actually visited me in the country.
I
It was
got
nice.
I got lucky in a way that I wasn't snatched. Well, lucky. I did the same thing with another game. So what happened to me was, when did WoW come out?
2004.
So in 2004, I decided to
Ages
buy
ago.
myself a beast of a gaming PC. So before that, I had consoles. I had quite a shit PC. Then I had spent like a good 3 years not fucking playing anything. Like,
Yeah.
just used to play at friends' houses. And I decided, fuck it. Like, I had started working, got some money, and I bought this PC. And I remember ordering from, I think, from Play.com. I ordered Counter Strike and World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft came. I chose a warlock, got to level 28. I was loving it, loving every fucking second of it. Was already getting complaints that I'm always on it. And Counter Strike arrived, man. And I was already
then you
someone
got
who liked
lost.
Counter Strike. And I removed the CD of WoW because I remember it was still
Wow.
that way. Put in Counter Strike again because I had the 1.6 WEG before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I never touched WoW again, man.
Oh, okay.
And I always said, like, I
That's,
think I'm lucky because I loved it. I knew, like, what it's going to do to me. Ark did that to me. Ark made me, like, literally throw away 3 years of my life. Just Ark. It's like I had a kid, man. It was fucking crazy.
It's like having a job.
It's like having a
so-
kid, man. Ark was like having a kid because you have to wake up in the middle of the night to imprint your fucking dinosaurs. It's retarded. It's
I
fucking
know.
insane.
Now, no, on WoW, not so much, depending on what you want to do, really. So,
Ooh.
and it's becoming.
Depends
And
what you want to
thanks,
do.
Gamma.
It's wait. It's like
Hello.
yo, Kamakad, how's it going, man? It's like saying, listen, you can do heroin, but it depends what you want to do with it. You can chill. No, man, I'm going to fucking go all out if I'm gonna do WoW.
So uh, the game evolving. So, and yeah, the point I was going to do a few minutes ago, I joined this guild, and the guild leader was close to 60 years old,
Oh, nice.
and he quit like 2 years after I joined. And one of the guys that still plays in the same guild with me today, the one that visited Malta, he's close to 50 now, and he's still playing. Like, most of us are 30 plus now.
How old are
So
you, Engine?
I'm 31.
31. I always thought you were older. I don't know why. And then
No.
every time you tell
It's
me, I'm like, oh
because-
no.
Yeah, it's because I look old.
No, not you look old. It's more the amount of no. It's true. It's nothing to do with the way you look. The work.
Condensed.
No, the work you do. You do certain experienced work, which people my age do. I'm almost 10
I
years
can-
older than you are. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's-
So you do
That
certain.
also came from a long family line. So
And that's why probably the hair isn't there anymore, Engine. Since you wanted to bring up the hair.
yeah. 8 years longer than my dad. So
No, you take care of some tasks that most 30-year-olds I know will fucking crumble under pressure instantly.
the pressure thing is different, and I remember something that. I mean, it's easy to say stuff in an interview, right? If someone's interviewing you for a job, you can bullshit anything you want, and
Yeah.
they might not know it's true. I don't like doing that.
They'll find out.
And I remember two things that I did when I was still in banking IT, and before I joined one particular bank, back 10 years ago now. So first job out of my software development degree, I went into software development for the bank, and everyone used to say, I don't know if they still say it anymore, or if they still ask for it, but everyone asks for exceptional attention to detail, which is wow, you need to be really, really good. And I have this thing where I really noticed a little, and you can ask my wife, she hates it. I have to, if she does the dishes, I have to do most of them after she does them, just so I can check each one. I have to do it. I just,
fucking
so I
Christ.
told them in the interview, right? In the interview, I was like, I have exceptional attention to detail. And you know, they're like, yeah, whatever. So first week, they gave me Michael, that's it. No. So the first, and he, I mean, he's in the legal business, so he will understand. So they gave me 7. It was 7 sheets of paper, like 7 pages, and they said we want this document to be digitized so we can just fill it in and print it out and just fill in the blanks. Fine, whatever. First task you give me, I can do that. And they didn't have a way to do OCR and scan or whatever. They gave me the pages and they were like, yeah, you just have to retype what's in there and then we'll do whatever. And I'm like, fine. Okay. Chat GPT joins the chat. Yes. Chat GPT would do it for me today.
Man, that shit is amazing.
I love it. I'll tell you a few things I did because I asked it sort of broadcast related questions, which were interesting. So I'll tell you about that.
I'll write it down so don't forget.
Yeah, they gave me these 7 pages and I started writing and I found mistakes, like spelling mistakes.
Oh.
And I took note and I told so we were 2 guys in software. So I told my senior and I was like, listen, there were mistakes in the sheet. And he said, that's fine. The guy who took care of it is visiting the office, the head office this week, and you can speak to him. So this guy comes in, and I'm like, hi, pleased to meet you, blah, 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 head of whatever. And I'm like, this document, I have a few questions. And he's like, oh, yeah, there are a few mistakes in this. And he's like, no, that's impossible. I'm like, there are mistakes in this paper. I can see it. And he's like, no. Our legal people vetted that paper. It's fine. It's like, look, can you explain this? And he was like, oh, that's a mistake. So I first week there, maybe I shouldn't have done it. But I just, as soon as I saw his expression, I was like, I did say in my interview that I have exceptional attention to detail.
Like how to make enemies on day one.
Like,
your lawyer sucks.
But that's me not thinking. But the pressure thing, I remember we were in a situation. You remember when one particular bank a few years ago got hacked and lost a few million euro? I wasn't in that bank. But we had an issue a few weeks later, unrelated to a hack, but it may have meant that the system would go down and it would look like someone did something to us. And that was the biggest issue for us, that this might happen and it might give the wrong impression that we got attacked, which wasn't the case. So what happened was I was getting a delivery of some equipment and they came to reception. I went to collect the stuff. By the time I got back to the office, I saw a lot of people panicking. And I got to the guy that was one level under me. I really don't consider people under me. He was just in my team. I was his senior, but like, who cares, right? So I said, listen, what's going on? And he said, well, the power went out and they cannot get access to open the power, to turn the power on in the building. So we might go down. I'm like, fine, whatever. So I let everyone panic, went out, got more stuff, put them in the server room, which was dark. And I'm there taking the trolley in and putting the stuff and placing them. And they're like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting the stuff in. And so I sat down and head of IT goes to my colleague and he says, listen, you have to start switching over to the disaster recovery system. So you have an offsite disaster recovery, switch everything there, everything shuts down in head office and everything is working there. It's an exercise we used to do every year anyway, just because it was a procedure test. So I knew the process because I had been doing it myself for like 5 years. And he told the guy to do it. And I could see the guy just, the pressure was getting to him. And he's like, no, just do it now. And I said, okay, hold on. First, I told my guy, I said, listen, you don't do anything he said, because he's clearly panicking. So you listen to me, do what I tell you, and I'll be responsible for that. So I said, don't start switching over, just start shutting stuff down. And then the head comes back and he sees the guy, of course, not doing the job because it's an obvious screen when stuff is happening. And he's like, why are you not doing it? What's happening? What's going on? I was like, hold on, let's calm down. I told him to do that because we have maybe a total of 15 minutes left on UPS power for the entire floor to keep these servers running. Switching over to the other side takes at minimum 1 hour if you do it correctly. So what you are telling me to do is, instead of shutting down, which I can do now, and having everything safe, is switch over, mid-switch over, lose power, and effectively corrupt data.
Corrupt everything, yeah.
And that's where the money is. Like, everyone's money. It's not the bank's, it's everyone's money. And he looked at me and he was like, yes, you're right, carry on. Like, if you panic, and that's one of the reasons I don't panic. If you panic, you cannot think.
Man,
There's no way.
They did that shit to my car, man. And it's the same like you're mentioning. They had some intern who didn't know what he was doing properly. They went to, I think, flash the ECU for me, and they didn't plug a battery to it. So the car ran out of battery, and they killed my ECU, and then told me you have to pay 2,000 euros. And I was like, what?
No,
and I got
of course, yeah.
got a lawyer, and then they paid it, and they bought me a new ECU. Because yeah, they do these fuck ups all the time.
Yeah.
No, I
you
have.
just have to do stuff correctly, right?
I
Don't
have
panic.
good attention to detail, but that extreme attention to detail, I have it kind of in the profession. So when it comes to film, you can't see films with me because I will ruin a lot of films.
No, to
for
me,
you.
it happens in everything. And
Even movies, so you like guess movies. I see the mistakes.
If it's something that's not correct, I'm like,
The amount of times I rewinded them away. Look. Continuity is wrong.
And she doesn't care. She doesn't. It's like, why? Just
No,
just watch it.
yeah.
I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense.
It annoys me and I annoy her.
This wouldn't happen. Yeah, I know, but I just cannot control it.
Same.
If it happens, it happens.
And
Like,
guessing movies, guessing twists.
I do that.
And once I did it, I was in the cinema and we were seeing Sixth Sense. And I was with the girlfriend at the time, and I told her, I think it's the fucking ghost. And the guy in front of me turned around and told me, if you're fucking right, I'm going to kill you. And I was right. When it happened, he looked back at me. No, he had
TV, right?
No, he had looked back at me and he told me, did you know and you spoiled it or you guessed it? And I was like, no, I guessed it. And I was thinking why I guessed it. And he like laughed about it. I was like, what the fuck? In fact, when I saw, normally a film like that would not fool me. I'll guess the twist. It was so incredible that I got out of the cinema, paid the ticket, went back in again to see it again. To try and understand if there is a mistake or because
you missed something.
It was too much that he was there all the time in the room. That's one of Saw 1 to me is one of the best written twists ever and barely cost them any fucking money.
It's nice when when it's really, really unexpected, right?
Oh,
I still enjoy watching something. I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't watch a lot of TV. Like if you see me watching anything, it's either something I've already watched, either something from the UK in the 80s.
I have
the
something
90s.
for you. I have something for you, which you won't guess the twists, and there is.
That's good.
And,
I've watched that.
And there is a twist after twist after twist, and it is
That's
one
good.
of it's to me.
That's something.
To me, number one best movie in the world. You ever watched Old Boy? It's Korean, not the American one. See,
So
Old Boy
I'll look at
of
it.
Odesu is a Korean. When Tarantino saw it, he put his stamp of approval on the Korean one because this film
So good.
is written amazing. It is shot beautiful shots, and they use a lot of video game shots in it, so it gets funny during violent parts. And basically, I'm gonna tell you the trailer. So the trailer of the video is there's a man who gets kidnapped. He's thrown in a room. He's kept there for 15 years, and he doesn't know why. He releases him, and basically he finds, this is the trailer, I'm not ruining anything for you, and it already sounds like it's a lot. He finds the guy who did it, and when he's about to kill him, he tells him, what, you're gonna kill me without knowing why I put you for there 15 years? And he doesn't kill him, and he tries to find out, and this fucking movie, man, it's insane, man. It is one of the best, it is the best fucking film I ever saw in my life. Tons of twists, really unpredictable, amazing. What Kamadaka said hurt me with age before. How old is Kamadaka? Wait.
It's 57.
57.
We like to think he's really old.
He's younger than me, I guess. I know.
He's younger than you and older than me. So what is he? 33?
Yeah, in between us probably.
I forgot.
Man, I'm gonna be 40 soon. Huh?
But younger than you, older than me, definitely.
Fucking 40. So for sure has the best twist ever, man. So Quantum, I think Saw 1 has one of the best twists ever. If you see Old Boy, it's in Korean, so you're gonna have to read subs. If you see Old Boy, I promise you will tell me so is good, but it has nothing to do with the intelligence of fucking who wrote Old Boy, man. Last guess was right, 34. Kamadaka is 34. Well, Kamadaka, I am 39, and in March I will be 40. So Mick is 35 this year.
No, Mick isn't. Mick is
saying 35 this year. Mick is not even. Is Mick even 30?
Mick is a year older than me.
Mick is 32?
Yeah.
I'm so fucking old. That's fucking ridiculous. So
No, it's with films and stuff. No, I watch documentaries because I mostly know what the end thing is in the documentary, and I like understanding what's going on.
no,
what
trust
happened.
me, you need to see this. It's like
But
saying,
I'll watch a film. Like
believe me, you,
I
everyone
only watch
in
series
chat.
now. I only watch series now
I
because
used to.
my wife wants. I mean, I don't myself. If I'm here, I don't. But my wife
That's
is
the
like,
thing.
let's watch something. I'm like, fine, okay, let's
You
pick
know,
something, and
there,
we'll watch it.
there is nothing like good enough that will make me say I really want to watch this episode. So before, like when Game of Thrones, before the last 2 seasons, when Game
Those
of
I
Thrones,
didn't even watch.
that,
You know what? Usually the problem is if a lot of people hype something, I don't care.
yeah, I know.
If a lot of people are like, it's good. Yeah, if you're saying it's good, then I'm not watching it. Like,
When people make it too
it's
trendy.
like, no.
In fact, Game of Thrones, I started watching it when season 4 started, so I caught up before season 4, and in my head I was like, fuck, they were right, it was really right. And then Breaking Bad was another one. So those were series that, for example, it doesn't matter if I'm home and I'm free, I need to make time to watch it. Like Walking Dead, when
Yeah.
it had just come out, I was quite obsessed
Yeah,
with it.
then it started getting very repetitive.
Yeah,
so
then
it was
just
like, bah,
became
it's going-
stupid then.
They move, they go there, people
Yeah.
die, then someone else
and
joins,
they were
move
ruining
again.
they were ruining the comic. They had so much shit
It's
they
like,
could do.
whatever. I
So
gave
there
up
isn't
in, like,
basically
season 5.
there isn't anything that's making me go, oh, let me watch it. So I'll end up fucking
I
playing
had
Tarkov
something
or
recently that I wanted to watch, that I did watch with my wife, and I wanted to watch.
Sandman.
Like I was really like, I was watching, and it's not because of the plot mainly, because we were watching Stranger Things, and the plot is easily guessed because I was like, this is happening,
Yeah.
and she's like, no,
I haven't
that's
watched the last
impossible.
one
And
yet,
it's this guy.
I want to watch the
but-
last one. They were all good. I liked the others.
But every time I'm telling my wife it's this guy, and she's like, no. Why is it this guy? Because he just said, this is something that happened to this guy. Who would say that something happened to this guy? I mean, come on.
They didn't watch enough Scooby-Doo, man. Scooby-Doo.
It's like everything is so obvious. But I watch it because of, there's the level of cinematography.
and it's beautiful, nostalgic filming and sets. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
amazing.
But the last
the
one,
80s was an amazing era to choose, right?
mostly that's what it is. The engine, I think it's the nostalgic feeling of. So for example,
For
it
us, more
keeps
than
reminding me of Goonies, of It, of these types
for
of.
us more than these people that are younger than us, right?
Yes.
If you're 20 today, you watch it because it's nice.
But you
for
know
me,
the thing is, when I think the 20-year-old watch it, when they see all the cool old video games, the playing outside in the road, it was so
but the feeling
different.
for them is different than us.
No,
because
no,
when they
different
start-
feeling.
If they pull,
Not nostalgia.
My wife is not really into any technology, so when they started pulling the VHF radios out, she's like, "So what does it? How is he speak?" And I'm explaining because my dad had 3 VHF radios. My dad was in the army. We had VHFs at home. We used VHFs at home, my dad and I, to communicate when he was adjusting the satellite disposition on the roof, and we were on VHF. So she's like, "What?" So to me, it's like, "Look, it's so cool." And something comes up, and my wife is like, "What's that? How do you not know?" I mean, she's a year older than I am. You should know. This is something. But it's nice seeing it and having to explain stuff, right?
We get nostalgia. I think the younger kids, maybe they're seeing like the different life. I'm pretty sure they see kids and go, holy shit, like they played out a lot. And like you're saying, also the tech, man, like there's a lot of old tech which they have no idea. And the music, the hits. Metallica, man. People like heard Metallica for the first time, so many of them, because of Stranger Things.
I think they had to pay so much money in royalties probably for all the hits they used, because there's a Spotify playlist I have, and I opened it up.
But dude, Netflix.
The amount of, it's a huge playlist, and the amount of, they're all high profile hits.
True,
like,
but when you consider,
whoa.
But for example, Netflix would just throw like 20 million
but not a lot
on
of people
a
do
special.
it in the series, right? Because what you're doing in the series, it's either epic, so you have to create music for that. It's either modern, you have to create music for that. But now you have the 80s. All the music from the 80s has been done.
But definitely, they could get 80s vibe music, like their intro sounds like. But the fact that they brought originals.
But of course, they have to use those tracks because the kids
it's
from
what
the
was
80s
fun
grew
at
up
the
with
time,
those
exactly.
tracks.
And also, if you consider they throw about 20 million to just a stand-up comedy special, so can you imagine
Yeah,
the
that's it. I mean,
budgets,
there's
man?
a lot of money, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Oh,
the
but there's,
budgets.
you have to consider there's not a lot of production money thrown into a stand-up comedy compared to all the.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So
That's it,
I can
that's it.
imagine like what the budget is then on a full
And
set production.
they have some insane VFX artists.
Fucking right. It's too cool, man.
I was watching
The sets also, man. The accuracy in
because
the
they do
sets.
some interviews with some of them, and there's a on Netflix there's a Beyond Stranger Things,
I didn't see
which
it.
covers it's about season 1 and 2, and they speak to the cast and to the writers and so on, and apparently some of the scenes where stuff breaks, they actually it's not effects, they break them.
Oh.
They put charges on the glass and they break the glass in. It's
Cool.
like,
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, you have all the money to make this an effect.
But they filmed it
But-
like the 80s, eh?
They did the proper thing, but of
And-
course, because the actor was like, let's do it.
Isma, also, I don't care how good fucking CGI is. The problem with CGI is
You can
in,
still tell that
in
it's
10 years it's always looking old. Even if it still lives up, it still
could be
looks
really
old.
bad, like the Resident Evil.
Yeah,
thing.
that was
fucked
shit.
up.
No, but
As
when
soon as I saw the trailer,
even if you go see Avatar, the old one now, it's gonna look a bit old.
I never
if you
watched that either.
No, it
because-
was a really good film, and at the time it was like these fuckers are
Yeah,
real.
but then you look. I mean, I watched. I think my wife had never watched Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, and I watched it. I downloaded it and watched it with her, and I was like, "Wow, the animation is so bad. It's just. I mean, it's 80s, right?
That's
but it's so bad. But it's still you enjoy the film because it was.
Fucking right. No, I love
And
it.
that's what we had. But it's bad.
And
But anyway.
look at old movies which didn't use CGI and they use props. Like for example, Alien, Ninja Turtles. They're still fucking good, man. If you see them, they're still actually
I
good.
mean,
Okay,
Gremlins is just.
and Critters, man.
Okay, that's amazing.
They're fucking good. If you see them till today,
Yeah.
they're actually genuinely really good. So, gently used hamburger bun. I'm ready to learn about Locke's personality. My favorite is a door lock with a cosmetic on it. What the fuck? I'm sorry. It's
I ate a burger
LocksTALK,
today.
not
I
Locksmith.
don't think it was gently used. I was quite
ugh.
aggressive with a
Was the bun gently used?
nice beef pat. No, it was fresh. Gently used.
So, what we were talking about before, Engine, actually, because
Yeah.
now I remembered, actually.
We sidetracked.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're talking about your dad used to play Resident Evil, if I'm not mistaken.
My dad. So, I remember before the PlayStation. I have memories vaguely way back until when I was, I think, 2, 3, because that was really close to the PlayStation. But we still have, and I'm bringing it here actually because we still have it, the Amiga 500, and that was set under the staircase where the PC then replaced it, like every 90s family, right? Either in the kitchen, under the staircase. That's landing on the top of the staircase. That's where the PCs were. That
Not
was
in
the
the
Amiga
rooms.
500. Actually, first it was in the first floor landing, and then it was under the staircase. And it had a thermal printer on it as well, which wasn't fun, but anyway. And he had all these games, and I remember him playing that, and my mum played. My dad played a lot of games, but my mum played an amazing game on the Amiga, and I actually have it on the Steam Deck, and I played it a bit. It's
What
not
is it?
easy, and it got really high ratings back in the 80s. It's called The New Zealand Story. Where you play as it's a platformer like most games back then, and you play as a little
I'm looking it up.
Kiwi hatchling.
I think I actually played this.
It's really hard. It's really hard, but it's good. And that's what my mum used to play. I remember her playing that. And when I got it on the Steam Deck earlier this year, I was like, "Look," and she was like, "Oh, that game." So she still remembers that. But we had a lot of
I
games.
fucking remember it, man.
It's an amazing game. It got really high.
Oh, I
ratings
remember
back in the
this
80s.
because I used to
It's
have.
really-
I had the Commodore 64 before the Amiga.
so same. I mean, same.
So is that so? I remember
Type
most
of
of their
games, yeah.
games. Okay, so that's how you started. You used to see your parents.
That was the Amiga. Yeah, my
So you
dad
s-
played Cannon Fodder 7 floppies. That was good.
I remember, man, on the changing of the floppies. It was crazy. So you started by watching. So it was a no-brainer as soon as you
Started
could
that.
get your
Then
hands
the
on them.
PlayStation came. We were allowed. I mean, it's my dad's gaming system, right? So I consider it a privilege that I was able
You
to
gotta play
use
as
that
it.
because it wasn't mine. But I could play all the games we had. I remember playing The Simpsons and Scrappy Doo and RoboCop. There's
Yeah.
so many games.
Paperboy, fucking.
And I had there's so many, and they were really really good games. But then in late '94 or early '95, I don't remember. My dad was placed 2 weeks training placement in one of the islands around Italy, and the PlayStation had just released there. It wasn't even released here, as far as I know, and it was on sale. And he went in and he's like, "I want this, and I'll get whatever." And he got it. We still have the box for that PlayStation, and we still have the PlayStation. And he came from holiday. Well, holiday, it was work.
So wait, how old were you when the PlayStation 1 came out?
I think PlayStation 1 was out in 95. I think is 90. Well, let's see.
Jesus, even I was really
PlayStation
young because I
1.
remember it
I
like
think it was 95. 90.
there are a lot of consoles and shit.
Let's see. PlayStation console. Yeah, so yeah, 95 in Europe, 94 in Japan. So September 95 in
'Cause
Europe.
I remember it coming out. I already had quite a few. I had the Commodore, the Amiga, the Atari, the Nintendo. But then when
The
the
weird
fucking
thing-
PlayStation, holy god, oh my god, that was good.
And I knew, so we got one game with it, by the way, for a few years until we could get more games, because of course getting something before it arrives made it even harder to get the
Yeah.
games. And we had Soul Blade, which is still amazing until today, and that's where Soul Calibur comes from, also called Soul Edge sometimes. And I remember whenever someone else in my family or friends got a PlayStation and they'd go into the memory card menu, they had a blue menu. And I was like, wait, why do these guys have a blue menu? And then I realized it was because mine was an older version. And mine had a gray menu. I was like, okay, ours is really, really old.
Yeah.
So it's one of the initial ones.
And you
So
still
that was
have it.
nice.
It's
I still
at
have
you.
that. I have
Oh,
3
nice.
PS1s because whenever family members were going to get rid of them, I was like, no. We take that. You don't get rid of it. But I still have our PlayStation and its original box. I still have that. So, and I make it a point to keep the box for everything because we know the box is the important part, really.
Exactly. I had the
So, yeah,
PlayStation
I
1.
keep the box.
And the way the PlayStation 1 used to... Now, I learned this later in life when I did IT and shit, because it clicked, but at the time I didn't understand what was happening. So the PlayStation 1, you remember the door used to just close from the top?
Yeah.
So when the door closed, it used to have this little plastic, and it used to press a button.
Yeah, the one that goes in.
Exactly. So basically it tells the PlayStation, okay, you can read
Yeah,
disc.
I'm closed. Yeah.
So my PlayStation didn't used to work, and once I put it upside down, and it fucking worked. It worked. And I was like, what? So whenever
The switch fell down.
because the switch wasn't working, the spring broke. So when I put it upside down, the switch
It
used to
just fell
touch.
down,
I
yeah.
used to detect that things were good, and I used to only be able to use it upside down. So you keep on hearing the disc going.
There was a thing with a very early PlayStation in the US. Actually, they had 2 different versions depending on what the connector was on the back, and the very first one had a heating issue because one of the boards for display was really close to where the disc laser was, so it would heat the board up and it would freeze the thing, crash it, whatever. So they would flip it upside down just because it kept it cooler at the bottom.
Okay, cool.
And then they revised that and.
Yeah, that's my rule. In fact, with PlayStations, I never buy the first one. I always buy the second version.
Just wait.
Because whenever they get the second version, it's cheaper, it's faster, it's better, it's smaller,
Yeah.
and they would have fixed all those little cranks that
That
fucked
being
up.
said, I haven't bought a single PlayStation after the PlayStation 1.
No,
Except
I bought
for the PSP.
4. I bought.
I have a PSP.
I'm a sucker because I kept on buying either for Skate or for Mortal
mean-
Kombat.
Now I want to buy them because I want to have them.
No, I don't actually. Everything.
I still want to have like the PSP I have in its original box still.
You mean the old ones you want to
The
buy?
old ones. The old
okay,
ones, not the
yeah.
new ones.
No,
I
fucking
really
right.
don't care much about console, to be fair.
Dude, I thrown away my Nintendo, my Atari, my Commodore, my Amiga. I would fucking kill to have them all back,
Yeah,
man. But I was
know.
too young
We
and
kept
stupid, you know.
My dad kept them. and
Your
I-
dad
I-
knew, that's the thing. He was into
Yeah.
games. My dad, nothing. My dad's
The
first
only
rule.
thing my dad threw away from the Amiga was the monitor, which wasn't even an Amiga. When it was just.
All right.
And it was bad.
No,
So I just threw that.
My
away.
dad's engine was the complete opposite. He fucking hated clutter. So when
No,
we're
no.
in the shop, he used to take shit out of the box and tell them, here, throw the box away.
Ah,
Like
no,
that
no.
bad. So whenever he sees me
I
keeping
feel the
boxes,
pain.
he's like, why the
Ah,
fuck are you keeping the
yeah.
boxes? And I'm like, because that's the fucking value of
I
everything.
feel the pain.
So sometimes I used to ask him, like when I was older, to get me certain things which I would have kept in the box for figurines and shit, and he used to give them to me without a box, and I used to be like, he just destroyed all the value of it. But anyway,
Yeah, I feel that pain. I feel that pain.
fucking
But
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
we kept most of that, and then actually, so yeah, we had Soul Blade for the first 2 years, and Soul Blade had what's called an Edge Master mode, where it gives you different challenges for every character.
Oh, cool.
And I actually still do that on the deck today because I really love that mode. And some of them are really hard. And of course, you grow older and you can do some of the things, but some
Yeah.
of them today are still really, really hard because they need specific I mean, a Tekken player would probably do them
No, but
because
it
it's
still
a combo,
takes
but
it still takes tons of repetition. Like I
yeah.
played Super Mario lately again. Man, that shit gets fucking hard. I used to think
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I was young. No, man, the game was.
No, some of them
hard.
are really, and that's how you know the game was really good.
Aha, exactly.
Because if it then you're older and it gets easy, you're like,
Look,
okay.
you
then
know
it
how
was
you
just-
would, as in during my time, you know how you know a game was good and there was big accomplishment when you go to school, and like out of 30 people playing the game,
Yeah, it's
3
like,
finished
yeah.
it. The rest are still struggling to finish.
Yeah.
That used to be like the biggest trophy, the biggest pride ever,
yeah,
man.
it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, this guy. Ooh.
As that he finished it and everyone
And like
asking.
by the time the other guys are halfway, this guy has done it
He's
the
finished
second
it,
time.
as that.
It's like, guys, just come to my house. We'll
As
play it.
that, and I'll show
And
you.
I'll just show you.
I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
Some people are just good, okay, naturally.
Yeah.
So you started by seeing your parents, and obviously then
Well.
you got onto playing yourself. So what brought you to how you are, like to streaming, to like, first of all, you went into, before streaming, I'm assuming you got into like competitive play or like
I never did competitive play.
maybe
ever.
WoW raids, because you could
But
also
I
say
wouldn't
it's
consider the
competitive.
raids we did. I mean, they're on a competitive level, but it's not that I always looked for a better team. I was like, it was the same core team, and we aim as high as we
As
can.
that. But that's what I mean by competitive, like you took the
but yeah,
game
that's the-
seriously.
Yeah, I take my class in WoW really seriously, and since 2010, I play the same class. I don't really play other classes. I find myself really bad in other classes actually, but
You mastered.
I really get into. I play Arrested Druid, and I really get into it. And I remember back in 2013, today there are a lot of tools that we use and people building simulators, and it's really hard to do for healing. It's easy to do DPS because this is the amount of damage you're going to do to this boss. But if you're healing, it's always changing. So there are a few good guys that did a really, really good job with simulating and helping you get the best gear tuned for your playstyle more than just for the class. So those guys, hats off. But before these guys came, I remember doing it back in 2013. 2012, maybe, I joined a hardcore guild. And if you join a hardcore guild, they're like, yeah, you need to be on your numbers. Otherwise, you're benched or you're leaving the guild. And
So,
I was like, okay.
Did anything lead up to World of Warcraft? Like, for example, before I tried World of Warcraft, I got
No, I
interested
mean,
because of Diablo,
that's-
man. For example, Diablo used to be my game. I
That's tricky.
fucking
That's
love that.
tricky. So I started PC gaming in 2004. So that was after the PlayStation. I was like, I really want to get into PC because we had a PC like after the Amiga. So I don't consider that really the PC. But 98, we got our first actual PC. Then in 2004, my dad was like, listen, I'll get you your own one. And that's where I started getting into PCs, not just PC gaming, but into PCs. And I started playing your regular games back in 2004. So Need for Speed, I mean, Underground 2, that was a huge thing back then. And then the Call of Duty titles, Medal of Honor, that sort of thing. And I got into playing MMOs in, I want to say 2006. It wasn't World of Warcraft. A lot of my friends played World of Warcraft, and I was like, listen, it costs money a month. I don't have this money a month anyway. So, and you're going out with friends. I'd rather buy a couple of beers than play, WoW. I was like, okay. So
You
I
thought.
found, I thought, yeah. So I don't know how I got into there's an MMO called Rohan. It's a Korean MMO. I don't really remember how I got into it. I know that I downloaded it and I played it. I had 2 or 3 accounts on it that I could play simultaneously. So that was nice because I could get into the whole thing. But it was a free-to-play game, which means certain things you had to pay money for. Weirdly enough, the only Maltese person I ever met there actually went to my school, and I met him on the game. I spoke to him a few times in school. I didn't even know he played the game. We ended up in the same, I think they called them guilds there as well. And he was like, yeah, I'm this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, where you're from, Malta. Oh, wow. Okay. So, and we're from the same school. We live close. Then we started sharing accounts. That was, next level. We kept leveling stuff. But I moved to WoW because it was free to play, and I ended up spending more money getting the stuff to actually do well in the free to play game. And at one point I was like, whoa, okay, I'm spending this much money. So I'll go and try World of Warcraft. And if I like it, at the end of the day, I'm not going to necessarily say cheaper, because again, on WoW I have 2 accounts that's which now you can pay with gold, but that's still, if you pay it with real money, that's you can buy Call of Duty with World of Warcraft gold. Legit, you can buy, not because you can sell gold on the auction house for a WoW token, and then you get store credit and you can buy it. Yep. I never played it, but I know the game. Yeah. Yeah, 2010, and I stopped for 2 years. So, yeah, that's about 11 years. Why they can't hear you? They said are they messing with you?
No, they really can't hear me now. So what I asked was how long has he been paying subscription for?
Yeah, that would be so that would be 11 years. So that for one account, and that's excluding whatever else I bought, because you have to buy the expansions. So that's another.
Oh yeah, but
I always buy the collectors.
But forget the
just
expansions.
Subscription,
because expansions every game you get the 2 out,
so
3 out,
11 years.
11 years.
And let's consider you pay yearly, right? Because you can pay the yearly and save 2 months.
Yes.
So that's 13 by 10, 130 by 11. So that's almost 1,500 in WoW subscription over 11. That's for one account. For the last 2 years, I've been
1,500 in 11 years doesn't sound so bad.
I mean, to be fair, I think it's worth the money with the amount of stuff they put into it.
And
which is fine. And the fact that you don't need to worry about them doing something that you need to buy. Everyone is on the same level playing field. Everyone's paying the same amount.
No, that's great.
And that's fine.
And it's not that much when you consider you can pay that much on house insurance a year, sort of thing. You can pay that much on insurances. Like no, if it's over 11 years, it's like 1.5.
Yeah, it's over 11 years. It's
when
about 100.
If you were quick, it's not a problem. I don't think it's that much.
It's about 100. Welcome. It's 130 a year. So if you buy a cloud subscription for anything like the EA Premier, the Uplay Plus, and so on, it's going to be around the same price or a bit. Uplay Plus is about 150 a year.
Okay.
EA Premier is about 100 a year, which is around on the same level, but you're just paying for one game rather than the whole.
Yeah, true. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way, because I have the follow on. I hope it's not follow botting. If you're real, thank you for the follow. So, okay, that's not that much at least. And apart from WoW, you played any other games, or is just you just stuck to WoW? Then it's like been your main.
Many other games.
You do.
The problem is my library is growing. So I own over 1,200 titles now, and I have no time to because of WoW.
No, but that's what I mean. So you play some games on the side.
But I do play.
And
actually,
WoW is your main.
Now, WoW is my main.
All right.
And when a patch has launched or an expansion has
It's just
launched,
WoW,
that takes a lot of the time because you don't
Yeah,
have
like I'm with
so much.
Tarkov when they wipe out shit. Like
Yeah, if there's something fresh, then
it's all WoW.
maximum effort. Yeah, and real life, because now you have to balance that in.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a kid
Because
soon.
there's a lot of that. So, but right now I actually have done it over the holidays because we do break in WoW raids for holidays. We still do raids, but they're not required, so I don't go to all of them just so I can have time away from the game.
Oh, okay.
Because I've also figured, and that happens to everyone and everything, we can also get WoW burnout anyway. So if I'm raiding and I know I'm going to do the same raid for the next 2-3 months, then having a 1-2 week break from it is actually helpful, just so I don't get bored doing the same thing.
I have
So I started-
similar with Tarkov in fact.
I used to play a lot of Battlefield, and the thing with me for Battlefield was not doing amazing. At the end of getting to grips with whatever one they released, I'd be above average at least, top 5 in the maps. So that's fine. But my target was always unlocking every single gun, every single part. If that was my target, and Battlefield 1 was great for that. And I still have a clip on my stream on Twitch when I unlocked the final gun, which was a pain to unlock.
All right.
And I thought it was a glorious moment, but every time I look back to that clip, I'm like, I look like shit in this part. I look so tired. It took months and months and months to get this, and I'm like, it's finally done, and it just looks like agony. And it's like, okay, but it's something I like doing. Then they did Battlefield 5, which was okay. Battlefield 2042.
I played the latest one. It was hilariously horribly bad.
Yeah, I was so excited. I played for the first 3 days. I didn't buy the game. I did the smart thing, which I was doing with EA stuff, and bought a month of the subscription.
Yeah,
And played
good
it, and
call.
I'm like,
Because
man,
I
this is
listened
so
to
bad.
my good friend Spooner, and I was like, he
No,
loves
no.
Battlefield. I was like, I'll buy it. And the first raid I went into, my character flew in midair. He just like a balloon.
Hey,
Just-
right. As soon as I spawn, I get killed. As soon as I spawn, there's a tank.
Don't get
As
me
soon as
wrong.
I spawn, there's a helicopter.
There's no game
mean-
that's more broken than Warzone, but it was pretty fucking bad.
What I'm enjoying right now, and I was like, okay, Battlefield is not something that's going to work for me in its current state, so that's out of the question. And I like having a shooter to play just because I can hop into a game and do it. It's not like WoW where there's a lot of setup. You have to build into it. You have to go in a number of days a week, do X amount of tasks, make sure you've done them. You can just hop into a game and do it, maybe minus a few guns. So I'm like, okay, Call of Duty is free, but then I don't really like battle royales. So Warzone sort of out of the question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, there was a free weekend like a month and a half ago for all of the game. I'm like, okay, let's download it. I'll try it. I played some multiplayer matches. I'm like, okay, this feels good. I like the customization. No hesitation. I went out to the Battle.net shop, bought the game,
Okay.
and I bought it Battle Pass and everything. And yesterday I actually cleared the entire season 1 Battle Pass as
Nice.
well. I did the final few things. I still tried to unlock most of it. So I'm still in that sort of
Have you tried the
mindset that I
MZ?
need to unlock. I have not tried the MZ yet, and I have to because that's where some of the gun unlocks are, and I want the guns.
And to
So,
be fair, it's fun. It's like a good sort of.
I need to do it. I need to do
I don't know.
it.
They try to do a Tarkov, but it's not really like Tarkov. But the
It's-
concept.
It's like wow. It's like Call of Duty is trying to do everything for
Yeah,
everyone,
exactly.
and
But
they're. I mean,
it doesn't give you the same feel of Tarkov. But when you look at it from above, sort of thing, it's like
it's sort of more casual, right?
extremely
not
more
as
casual.
hard.
No.
Yeah.
It's like kindergarten compared to fucking Harvard.
Yeah, but it gives you an option, right? If you.
But that's what I mean. It's something you have your hideout, you
Yeah.
go out, you do your missions, you come back. So it's fun with friends. It's I think the most enjoyable thing about this whole Modern Warfare they got out. To be honest, I actually enjoyed it. So good.
I'm
We'll
mostly
do a
doing
couple of
Ground
games.
War, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do
we
some DMZ, man.
Yeah,
I'm not going
I'm
to tell you
also
to play
doing ground
Tarkov.
wars, unlocking gun. I stick to one gun. Like I have the different loadouts depending on the daily quest. So it's like, you need assault rifles,
Alright.
so you need shotguns. So I have, I think 7 different loadouts,
Okay.
and I don't change them unless I've unlocked everything on that gun. And once I've unlocked everything on the
Ah.
gun and it's complete, then I swap it to another one.
All right.
So I try to. And I mean, I
Alright.
managed to do the full shotgun one with one, and it was it's annoying in a ground war because you need to go building to building, and there are tanks and helicopters and blah blah.
If you play Warzone, you'll be more obsessed with what the meta is to load. I mean, to upgrade the guns. But I guess the way you're saying it, like
How about
with
in ground war, you get
DMZ,
to choose your own loadout. So
and
you-
DMZ, the same thing. Like you're saying, like you enjoy unlocking everything and like testing your weapons out and keeping your loadouts. That way you don't have to stay changing according to metas. That's
Yeah.
I fucking hated, man. About
yeah, no, it should be everything should be equally, well, close to equally balanced, and you
Yeah.
should be able to choose, whatever you want.
but that game is pay to win, like the way it's designed, because Warzone is free.
That's
But-
why, yeah, but that's why I just play ground war and
It's
Modern
it's
Warfare,
unfair.
because it's just
It's unfair because it's free, Warzone, but the guns to unlock them, they're like it's too.
Yeah,
they
so
take
they're
too
not gonna-
long.
yeah,
So
it's either
whoever
heavy grind or you
buys,
pay for it. Yeah.
so whoever grinds, obviously, with buying the game is going to have
Yeah.
the better loadout, faster loadout. So that's what I don't
with-
like
with-
about it.
With Modern Warfare, it's
One of
fine
the
because
things.
I found at first when I started playing it, I was like, holy shit, these guys are 150 level, 180 level, and they have unlocked everything and so on. And when I started, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get killed by everything and everyone. But now I'm about, I think, level 72 or something.
No, you'd be
I'm
surprised.
like, okay.
It's
It's now I'm at a level where if someone's 240, it doesn't matter. I can still kill this guy.
exactly no. The game isn't like most of the old games and most of the other shooters. It's designed for the noob sort of thing. So
I mean,
you're going
you
to
get the good
find
guys, and when you see when your
Exactly.
kill cam comes on and the guy has a golden gun and he just
not only the gun, because
no,
I know
and even the movement they do.
That's-
So
that's it.
First you're like, okay, this guy's got a golden gun, great. And then as soon as he's going ADS, even before he goes full ADS, he started shooting, and you're dead even before he put the ADS. And you're like, yeah, this guy knows
exactly
how.
So
this, and I
you'll
deserve
find
to
the
die,
pros.
you know?
No, you'll find the pros. Like even
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
sell Joel play, man, it's fucking unbelievable. But I've seen a lot of people also with gold guns and they'll be shit because the game is kind
Oh,
of
yeah, 'cause,
designed
I mean, you
for
grind it
everyone to
out,
do
you
well.
kill X amount of people,
As
get a
that.
gold gun. Fair enough.
As that. So it's sort of designed for any
But
player
you
to
get-
do
you get
well.
some of them that are really
Then you find monsters.
The
eh?
worst thing, and I keep saying it, the worst thing about Call of Duty right now, at least right as far as I know, because I haven't played Call of Duty multiplayer since Call of Duty 4.
Okay.
I used to just play the single player ones, and Call of Duty 4 was OG. Let's go. Is the whole crossplay thing, and not because I'm playing with people on crossplay, it's
I hate
because
it. I hate
everyone
it.
on an Xbox or on a PlayStation is on voice chat screaming at their kids, swearing,
Yeah.
eating. It's like,
I know.
shut the fuck up. Let's
It's-
just play just leave me alone.
It's that, and they have big issues with because controller is pretty much impossible to play. They have aim assist, and
they get aim assist, yeah.
The aim assist is ridiculous to the point where
Yeah.
all the best players in the world are all controller players. So I would prefer it if it wasn't crossplay and if I could just play against PC and PlayStation. I mean, console can play. I mean,
Yeah.
controller can play against
Console can
controller,
play- Yeah.
and mouse and keyboard play against mouse and keyboard. I think that would be like the fairest because certain things are impossible, especially
Yeah.
inside
Yeah, I
buildings.
agree on that. Yeah.
That pisses me off a lot. But cool,
You
we'll do
always
some
know they're the
DMZ, yeah?
console ones because they're speaking on
And-
comms without even realizing.
Dude, and that's the amount of noise. Oh,
In
my
the background,
God.
like where are these guys playing? It's like
Yeah, man,
Like,
fucking
what the-
screaming
how?
and vacuum
How?
cleaners, and they all need to come to
kids
the
in
fucking
back,
academy.
Then their girlfriend comes or their wife or their
Yeah,
mum.
exactly.
Mother. Just this is the amazing thing about the Procaster, or whatever Roadcaster, whatever it's called, because their names are
Roadcaster
but because
Pro.
Roadcaster Pro.
I want
2,
it so much. 1 second. Thank you very, very, very much, Fairflare, for the sub, dude. Cheers. The Roadcaster Pro, eh?
I can put the in-game chat on the chat channel and just mute. Like, I keep it on just in case one of my teammates decides they want to be helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, as soon as I hear them, I just mute the channel and I can still hear the game anyway. So that's
But you can press F9 and you can mute them. You mute everyone in game. Not the game sounds.
Yeah.
So I do that with some games. In fact, I think Spoon had a problem with the in-game chat going out to the stream because of routing. Yeah, man, it's horrible. And it's risky when you're streaming also because on Call of Duty, oh
really
my
bad.
God. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Hello, the bearded guy from the Spaniard guy.
Another work colleague.
Another work colleague.
Yes.
Welcome to
Hola,
the
mi amigo, ¿cómo estás?
podcast, Neo.
Las drogas están aquí.
What about the drugs?
That's just I'm learning Spanish.
You're learning Spanish? Good.
Yeah.
It's a good language. It's similar to Italian. It does have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, some things are different, but
I'm picking up he's known as the Spanish drug dealer. You mentioned drugs. Pleased to meet you, Neo. Welcome to the podcast.
I like languages,
the channel.
so I got the good shit.
You got the good shit, all right.
See.
We'll meet up then. So, all right. So we got to there, and then eventually you got onto streaming and doing YouTube videos. So you did content creation on YouTube. I remember seeing your OBS videos. I was like, holy shit, you have a lot, and they're detailed and they're really good. And you've also had something to do with OBS. So what was it first? Was it streaming first, or was it content YouTube?
So it's hard because I know I did streaming in. No, they definitely streaming first. So streaming came in 2013, and I think I mentioned it in the AFK series.
You used to stream for your friends
that
online anyway.
For the guild guys in WoW, because we had 40 people back then in the guild, and only 25 would get to raid. So for everyone to be in the loop, I used to stream whatever was happening. So they don't have to be in chat, because if you have 40 people in chat, then all of a sudden everyone's just speaking on each other anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like giving them a window, right? So they could see what was going on and stay in the loop. And what also helped us there, if someone had to leave in the raid and we had to get someone in, we don't need to explain anything. They've been there. So if you were benched, you are required to still watch either a stream or stay around if you know the stuff. And I did that for a few years. And I remember that was OBS version 8.7. It was white. There was no dark theme. It was completely different.
There wasn't Discord there.
There was no Discord. We used it was TeamSpeak, Mumble, or Ventrilo.
Mumble,
yeah. And you either hosted it yourself or paid for that. And connections were still really, really bad. So my upload was, I think when I started, maybe it was a megabit or 1.5. And streamers these days don't know how lucky they are that they could just put a machine up and stream. They don't know how lucky. I can grab my phone and do it. They have no idea.
No.
I couldn't play WoW and stream on one machine. That was, in terms of you understand these days, kids, the dual PC setup was meta. That's what, if you didn't have dual PCs, you were not streaming, even with the most powerful PC. You were not doing it. And it cost money to get the dual PC setups. And I still have one of mine. The actual one I use is still here. Actually, it was an AMD APU setup when they still released AMD. And Tuvbe in the chat guy there, he knows he sold me those parts new because I got them from those guys. He knows I got those parts new from them. Yeah, I was also one of the first people who bought a 3 terabyte hard drive in the country because I had to go there and specifically tell them I want a 3 terabyte hard drive, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't, but yeah, just get me one," and they got me one.
Nice.
They also managed to secure me 3 R92090s when they released.
Wait, what company is this?
So
Who does he work with?
That's CMAX Supplies.
It's okay. So wait, who's this? Who's
Yeah, it's Jeremy.
Okay.
You spoke to Jeremy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I bought the PC. That's right.
There you go. See. So,
thank you.
Yeah, they have been there. Like when I wanted something, it was them and Andre from Games
From
Lounge.
GMR, is it?
If Jeremy couldn't get it, Andrea would maybe try the other way around. So it depended.
Okay, cool. Yes,
Yeah,
he gave
so
me a very nice beast, which is right here, right now.
Yeah, I've been buying from them since 2007.
In fact, when I met you the
that's-
first time, I remember you had told me, see, Mark, I
Yeah, I
remember
told
you
just go to
mentioning
those
them.
guys. Yeah.
I remember thinking, all right, next
And that's like-
PC.
so the kids these days, two things they don't realize: how easy it is to stream and how helpful some people are. So if you go to any of, don't go to Scan and ask for help. Go to CMAC, go to Gamers Lounge, and you ask the guy for help, and he can give you the right help. And this is what I always tell the kids: if you don't see it on the website, ask for it anyway, because chances are they will get it for you.
Yeah, and what you're talking about, the help is so true. Like some, not a shit on Scanner in the companies, but some
you
are
need
just
to- yeah.
corporate. It's just like you're good for the job,
Yeah, I
do the job.
understand. It's a salesperson. He
Exactly.
wants to make a sale. That's
But
fair
then
enough.
some other
But it's not.
companies, like I don't know CMark well, but I've noticed it from CMark too, and I've also spoken. I happened to, I was there on the day because I had noticed something with the fans, and I spoke to the guy who was actually doing up the PC, and then later on I spoke to him again because he happens to play League of Legends mobile, so we met again. So there are people who are in the community, and GMR obviously are super in the community also. So yeah, it's definitely better to
No,
buy
that's
from
important. Yeah.
people who know what's going on.
I try to avoid getting stuff, and both of the companies have been honest with me when I wanted to buy something, and if they thought it wasn't worth getting through them, they would say,
Yeah.
"You go online, you get it online."
And
that's
kids, don't just buy Amazon PCs. Get your technician to check out your specs, because some Amazon PCs are just designed like
No,
shit.
there's a lot of stuff that's really terrible. But a lot of my stuff has been, because I buy a lot of parts. People have. Look, I can tell you, in this room, there's this streaming PC, that PC. There's my iPad, the MacBook, the Steam Deck. There's my gaming PC, my streaming PC. There are two more laptops behind me. There are a file server there, another PC. I buy parts. I have a tray full of CPUs, a tray full of RAM. I have parts, and I don't know how many. Yeah, and I use a lot of them. So there's still, I have about over 20 GPUs in this house, just in this house. So I buy parts. I know what
I used
So,
to be
and
that way with
people- yeah.
music.
No, but people think I get all these parts cheap because I buy them online. I don't buy most of them online. Most of them come from local shops.
They're
And the
never cheap.
reason is I have all these parts. If something goes wrong, I can just go to the shop and say, this
Exactly.
doesn't work, and they sort it for me. I don't need
No
to worry about sending
shipping
anything.
and yeah. And listen,
And
with
it's
the way
fine, it's
things
cheap
are,
to send it back to Amazon, right? But
Not
I
anymore.
can just go. Yeah,
not anymore,
fine.
man. Not anymore. That's the problem.
Not-
Like
I know,
now,
I
it's
bought from
fucking
Amazon
bad.
recently, and I paid I think €90 in shipping.
Neo just said I am a drug dealer. He's a hardware dealer.
We all
Man,
love
you should
hardware.
start framing or hanging all your really old hardware on the wall behind
The
you, man.
motherboards. I really want to.
I've seen
The
a
old
couple of
motherboards.
cool.
Yeah.
You know what I saw lately? I really want to do it. A Game Boy, which is dismantled and put into a frame.
The parts into it.
Let's see how
I saw
cool.
that with GPUs.
Even with GPUs, I saw it with
GPU,
other
yeah,
things,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like even with
But
the Nintendo.
the thing is, mine still work, right?
Okay, no, then fuck that.
And then in my head, someday I'm going to do something with these. Either some sort of series related to.
So
them,
wait,
like
you have a
assembly
bunch of
and so on.
GPUs and you're not farming?
Yeah, I mean, why would I?
Why
It's
not?
not worth it right now. I mean, just right
yeah,
there.
right now, no. But
Just right there by the guitars.
thank you, Antex, for the follow. Sorry, tell me again.
Look
I
at
see,
This, look at
yeah,
this.
yeah.
See that?
Uh-huh.
There's a little red bar over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 GPUs just sitting there on a case.
No, it's true. Right now, it's farming. Doesn't make
Like,
sense.
why
but
would I? Just 27850s. It's not something I'd mine on these. I mined on them before.
you have all right. So you have.
Yeah, I mined on these. So the 7850s and my 290s AMD back in 2014, around 2014, 2015 when they released. Those were mining Dogecoin when Dogecoin launched.
Okay.
And I still have a considerable amount of Dogecoin. So
Okay. Good. So you got something out of it.
I had a wallet. The worst thing those 7850s were mining on a PC, and I had, I think it was about 150,000 Dogecoins on that, and I formatted the disk.
What, you lost them?
I recovered the wallet, and it's corrupt as far as I know. I've been trying to open it.
How much would that
Then-
be worth?
150,000 Dogecoin today would be, let me tell you. It was nothing back then. Today,
I'm not a
about 12,000 US dollars.
I'm not a very big believer in crypto, Tajviri, but I know some people who made, and I know a lot who lost.
I started mining it again because then the 290s arrived, so I was like, yeah, power, let's go. And I mined another 150K, and then Dogecoin wasn't really moving, so I exchanged half of it. So 75K, I moved to another coin. That coin didn't move, and then Dogecoin moved. So I couldn't. But so now, I'm not touching them.
Just leave them.
At one point, and I remember I was at the academy when the Dogecoin boom happened, and Kevin was there, and I was like, "Look, Kev," and at that point they were worth 44,000 US dollars, and I didn't touch them. I'm like, I am not touching them because I didn't need them at the point, right?
No,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't trust them that much. I don't trust the whole crypto. It's a stock market put online. It's
I
weird.
did it for fun, right? It's there. So
I put something tough for fun into it.
yeah, but
and
why
left
would
them
I
there,
put
but
the reasoning was it's 44,000 now. I can sell all of them now and get 44,000
okay.
back then. But I don't know if that's going to double tomorrow or in 10 years.
I know.
And I don't need them.
I know, but that's the thing. Sometimes I honestly, I'm gonna sound old school. If I had 44, I would pull them out and even buy them in gold. I think it's a better.
I mean, fine, that could have been a
Or-
mistake I made.
or NGEN.
right?
With that amount of money, you would have bought between 3 to 5 nice Rolexes, and I guarantee you the
Yeah,
money would have
that
gone
goes-
up. That's what I believe in. Rolexes.
Yeah, that would have gone up in value.
They're better than any coin, anything. And lately, man, with the amount of
Right, you
fucking scammers there are, man, people doing
Yeah,
coins and scamming their people. Right now, apparently Logan Paul's in a big fuck up, like with his
I'm just
crypto
leaving
zoo.
them with- I mean, right now it's not worth pulling them. Not worth pulling them. It cost me
No,
less
leave
than
them.
a thousand in hardware and electricity to make them, and I could pull them out for 5,000 right now.
No, I would keep them just
But-
in case they go up
But
again.
why? Just I don't know
No.
what's going to happen in 5 years' time. I don't need them. If in 5 years those are worth $1 million, you're not seeing me anymore. So
Oh, with a million,
No,
you
you'll
don't
still see
fucking.
me.
You
I
don't
know.
really do much to a million today, especially in Malta, man.
I think even if I got really, really rich, I wouldn't move away from what I'm doing. To be fair,
Not
'Cause
from what I'm
I
doing,
just-
but from where I,
I
am.
just-
Yes,
eh,
no, I will run. I will fly in a day. No, for sure, I'll leave.
no.
For sure, but
No, but
you
yeah,
don't do
I'd
much with
still
that
be-
much. I wish
I'd
I
buy some equipment.
definitely. I would buy music equipment, PC equipment, cameras. No, I would buy all that shit.
I'd buy all the Tim Henson signature guitar.
Yes, that's definitely something I'll do. I'll fill.
I'm going to eat
I'll
cake,
fill
screw
this-
everyone.
Yeah, eat. I'll fill all this wall up with fucking guitars if
Yeah.
I had that money. But no, like realistically, if you get $1 million in Malta, you're buying yourself a nice house, a nice car for you and your wife, and you put the money on the side for your
buying
kids.
yourself a nice house is an understatement at this time, because $1 million doesn't get you much today.
Yes, but you're still going to get a nice house. That's
you
what
get
I
something
meant.
bigger than an
Wait.
apartment.
That's what I meant by I will fly away in a second. I will go to Spain. If I had that money, I would go to Spain.
Gee, you can take one of our guys and you can.
Oh, of course, he can join me. No, but it's true. Like, getting jobs in Spain maybe isn't the best, but if you have income and you go buy a house in Spain, oh my god, man, I was looking
Yeah,
at the
see?
houses there.
My
Brazil,
colleague
man.
Andre will take you to Brazil. He knows where you shouldn't go.
I like Brazil, but that's the thing, man. I've been to Mexico too. I like it, but one, I want to stay in Europe, and two, I don't know, certain countries are scary.
No,
If
you
you're not-
don't-
if
you
you're
don't
not-
want to live in- you don't want to live in Brazil.
Yeah, if
No.
you're not from the place, you're gonna get fucked. If you're from there, you know exactly what's good and bad, but nope.
Hey, he can get you to
Parador
Adriano
Circle.
Emperador next time.
No, I would love to go to Spain. If I have the money, I would go to Spain. With 300k there, you'd build a nice house, live comfortably. But in Malta with $1 million, what the fuck do you get, man?
With lots of paella.
Amazonette and a lot of pastizzi. Taxes were good here. But let's not be bummers about Malta. So you do content creation, you do streaming. Do you ever
Trim.
was that?
No,
Sorry,
I
I
said
thought
yeah,
told
yeah.
something. So do you ever think of it as becoming your full time? Do you try push to make it a full time, or is just something you do on the side, maybe an extra
It's
pocket
tricky.
money?
It's tricky, and to be frank, it as it is right now as a part time. And I when I tried doing it full time, it was the wrong time to try to do it full time. Um, there's money to be made. There's not a lot of space to do things. Like if someone else wanted to do something alongside in the same sector, there's not a lot of space. So that's one of the biggest issues. So if someone decides they want to do something tomorrow and they're competitive in their pricing, probably not, because my rates to like regular clients are quite good. But if they offered them a better price and I lost that client, then what? You know, it's already a very small market. So as far as doing the, so I'm not talking about doing
No, you're talking
just
about
content. I'm talking about
broadcasting. Yeah,
production, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this limited
Is
space that
the
I
issue
don't
is the
want.
issue
So
that there isn't enough work to go around because they're still using a lot of old school methods, or it's just in
no,
general?
there are two things, right? So firstly, it's still an expanding market. So the productions are relatively small. There are a number of productions that are large, and you can really count those on one hand, even if you had two fingers missing, probably, because we're talking about. It used to be the Malta Esports Festival, which was now replaced by PlayCon. Um, there used to be the MRO, which is in a weird position right now, and there's of course, I mean, and I'm wearing the shirt because I love this shirt. It's the BOVE Premier League, and I mean the MFA and the BOVE Premier League is one of the highest standards in what we do, and it's where a lot of the work goes. But those three things alone, I mean, are not enough. They're big events. There's good income, but you also need to consider other things. And I quickly came to realize that when I opened the business, is you need equipment, and you're constantly getting equipment, and it's not cheap. You start cheap. I remember the first season of the Premier League, we had only one camera. This one you're seeing me through. This was used for the casters. This Sony A6300. We had two C920s, one for each player, and we had the Logitech Brio, which I have here. This same one that I use for work now was the studio cam that got the players. So that was really low budget, like PC. I mean, the same streaming PC I have here, but really like really low budget stuff, because I couldn't afford to buy a lot of equipment, and they couldn't afford to put. Yeah, sure, correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The officially. No, because it's a self-employed business. It's just under my name, so I just use NGEN as the. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to before I opened under my own. Yeah, 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 yeah. So it wasn't. Yeah, yeah, because it was just a couple of events. There was something we were doing. Are you muted again? Apparently, stop muting yourself.
Yeah, Jesus, you're right, guys. Sorry, but I was coughing, and every time I'm still suffering from it. So what I asked Engine was, he opened his own business. He used to work with some, and now he has his own thing happening. So when you're taking care of the BOV Premier League and the other stuff, that's you're doing that. So it's
Yeah.
solo, or you have other partners with you. Like, what's the
So
deal?
it depends on the event, right? So previously, when I wasn't my own business, I had to operate under something, because of course you have to issue an invoice. Um, so we did that through another company. Um, and of course, it was like me controlling that part anyway. We had some other projects that didn't make it. Um, and then I decided, if it's still just me doing this, we should separate it, because it makes it easier even for accounting on both parts,
Yeah.
because they were slightly unrelated anyway. Um, So that came in. Now it depends on the size of the event. There are a lot of, I'd call them smaller events that I do and handle myself. Like for instance, when we had the multi cyber series, the Tekken stuff that had the finals in during PlayCon, the qualifiers for that I did just myself because it was lower budget because we just wanted to stream and get some content out and less equipment, so I could do that alone. Something like PlayCon I couldn't do alone. So of course, on the Fortnite area, I had Adam T Spark that was coordinating a lot of stuff for us there. I did production and he helped me with
But
observers
you
and getting
you
everything
hire the
set up.
right people for the event if it's big, Jafiri. But you're doing your own
I
thing,
didn't
so it's
hire Adam in that case because we were both hired for that.
but
For
you
the
got him
Tekken
to
area,
help
for
you.
instance, I hired a friend of mine
Okay,
who
cool.
I've trained in Middle Sea race as well. Because sometimes even taking two people to an event to do things is a bit easier.
And do you think you will push this to full time eventually once like jobs there are more jobs in this industry, like, or do you think it's
hard. It's hard right now. I think it's hard because there's not enough stuff happening
but
to
that's
make it worth it.
but that's what I wanted to ask you, as in with the equipment you have and the way you use things, does it need to be esports? Because like you've done other stuff before, like
No,
is
we
it
do other stuff, and that's where I started splitting stuff. So instead of investing in a lot of equipment myself, because now I have the sort of base equipment that I can go in and operate a smaller event just with what I have. But then if it's something larger, like something like PlayCon, that I cannot equip. So that's where MST comes in. I know the guys really well. I met Andre from MST during the first official MESF that I did in 2018. And I met him just outside the broadcast room. They were doing the lighting and everything. We had a chat.
okay, cool.
I mean, since then we've been good friends. We have loads of plans, and they have a lot of equipment that I don't have. They do. They do a lot of conferences, and they have ongoing things weekly.
The hardware, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's the income coming in there where they can invest where I cannot for the large scale.
That's the same with a lot of
It's
businesses.
yeah.
Same with video. Like I have.
We try to now what we do together, or at least we try to not overlap. So they sometimes rent some stuff out from me.
Okay, cool.
So they come to. So for instance, the camera that's behind me, this little light over there, that's a POV NDI camera. I have two of those. They cost 400 each. So that's an 800 euro investment that I use them here just for fun. Those were specifically bought just for the Premier League.
What quality is that?
That does 1080p 60 over NDI, over RTMP, over SRT. You can run them at the same time. Substreams. You can also control everything on it remotely.
Okay.
So I can change the shutter speed on it. I can change the gain. I can change the white balance. So it's easy for us to just place them.
We'll speak after the podcast because, like, I was doing something not similar to what you're doing, but I want to cater for podcasts, for portable podcasts, where you can just set up everything on the fly. So now I'll talk to you about that because I have a couple of people who might be
We try to do a lot
potential
of
clients.
things that I want to say unconventional. It isn't unconventional today because the NDI is growing. We did the entire PlayCon Fortnite event. So we had how many PCs? 48, I think. Yeah, 48 PCs, all over NDI.
Yeah, I remember I was there. So
that was, I mean, you're not going to do a 48 PC setup at home. It needs enterprise switches. It needs managed bandwidth control, people who know how to do that. But it is doable. It's a lot cheaper doing that than
I was going to
getting
tell you
captures out of each
compared
one.
to before to try capture all of them. Like,
So yeah,
it's insane the amount of mixers
I
you need.
remember when NDI was being covered on YouTube by people who did streaming videos, and you're like, yeah, great, use NDI, so you don't need to buy a capture card. Which again, guys, it's not the reality. There's overhead with NDI. You get extra CPU load, but I remember it being a very raw technology. Yeah, you get about 20%.
No, but it's not the handy sort of, you just do it at home and it works fine. But if you're catering for big
Yeah, you
lands
need
where
to
you just need
start.
to capture.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
The
perfect.
nice thing with NDI as well is if you're on the same network at the end of the day, which everyone was, we could even send streams over to different areas.
I have a question
So you
though.
could,
How
yeah,
come in PlayCon, because it's a giant event, why
yeah.
didn't you have spectator mode?
We had spec mode. We were using it actually.
So why did you need all the NDIs?
But the NDI gets I think we had 2 spec accounts. They didn't want to give us more than that.
They only wanted to give you
And
two? That's, yeah, that's
yeah, I think that's what we had. We tried getting the other spec accounts that you know about, and they didn't want to let us use those. They were like, no, that's for this. You cannot use these even though you have them. So
yeah.
they gave us that spec. So what we got was a feed. We wanted a feed from everything so we could literally just pick
You have
everywhere.
complete control.
Because
also.
otherwise it's just 2. So we used only one of them, just so it is the
you have good control of everything that way. You don't have to depend on
we
the
needed
game.
4 observers, of course. One of them I needed to slap a bit. Marcos, I had to yell at him, the poor guy. But I needed to get him in place because he was lost.
No, but that's what people like Marcos needs. He's young, you know, he needs a bit of yelling sometimes, and that's how kids learn. Like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with the world today. No one wants to yell at kids. That's what kids fucking need.
He did a good,
good yelling, and then they
job,
learn. And no offense.
It's something that, oh, by the way, so just so everyone knows, anyone who was working at PlayCon got paid. So, and that's something I'm a very big advocate for. Don't do stuff for free.
Yes.
I mean, maybe starting out, do volunteer just to get
No,
a
you
feel of
need
it.
you need to get some
ask
free
for
work
money.
done. You always need to get free work done. I've done my free work with videography till you get somewhere, but then you get to a point where you can't sell
You
yourself
cannot
for
do it
free.
anymore.
And what you mentioned about Marcos, it's like, it's good to be like him in a certain extent, because a lot of people, if you yell at them nowadays, they just get offended and fucking.
No, the guy owned up to it. And
Exactly.
He was like, I fucked up.
Exactly,
So
that's
this
what
is
I
on
mean.
me.
Because I
And
know
then
the
he-
story, so I know like he understands like what went wrong, and he didn't stay being a bitch about it, and that's what you
Yeah,
need from.
no. He
Because
just owned up to it.
a lot of youngsters today, as soon as you tell them they did something wrong, it's 100,000
Yeah,
excuses. So it's nice when someone goes, all right, you know, like, as in I made a mistake. Because that way you're like, okay, I can mold the person because they're honest, rather than to every time have an argument with them because they just don't want to say, I fucked up, because everyone fucks up at the end of the day. But when you're younger, it's harder to admit, I fucked up. It's harder to admit, that was my bad, you know
But
what I mean?
that's really hard when you cannot really find people for a role. So we really needed him there, but I also needed him to do his job.
Exactly.
Right.
And when you're getting paid.
And no shade on him, by the way. He did a good job at the end of it. He just needed a bit of
a bit of a push.
yeah.
Especially,
He needed a bit of a steer in the right direction. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there are no sorries, because you explained and told him what you needed to tell him. Now he'll learn from it and he'll get hired again. You know what I mean? If he stayed bitching
That's
about
my
it,
target, actually.
or if
That's
you just
mostly my
said,
target.
fuck it, I won't say anything, I won't hire him again. Some people do that, you know what I mean? Quantum,
No.
Quantum wrote, it's good to be like Marcos. I'm going to go buy 1 kilo of pastitsy for work tomorrow.
I'm assuming he did that at one point.
Because during the game show, because my game show basically, NGEN, which you're taking part in, one of the game show, the first 2 rounds are trivias, and I try to do them as easy as possible.
Okay.
And what I mean by as easy as possible, let me ask you the question: what is a dozen?
I mean, 12.
Exactly. Marcos wrote 1 kilo.
What?
Marcos wrote 1 kilo. So, he wrote so if you see 1 kilo written around in the community right now, it's because Marcos wrote 1 kilo when...
I was watching one of the game shows, but Marcos wasn't in that, so I think I
watch
missed the right one, and I need to go to watch the right one.
They're all good, but trust me, the first parts, especially because of Marcos, it was fucking hilarious. So yes.
I have to...
No, but he's a good sport. He knows how to make fun of himself, and he learns.
I like the guy.
I'm still like shocked with who were at what the fuck? We were at not PlayCon. Yeah, it was the Eden one. So we're at the Eden one, and I had a broadcast room in the back,
Yeah. Where you found him sleeping in the broadcast.
Exactly. So Jesus
I
Christ,
sent him to the other room, not the broadcast.
man. I went in the room, but listen to this shit. I go in the room. It's pitch black. I'm looking for the lights. I put the lights on. I start setting up. I set up a whole 2 PCs with the mics, with the lights, with the camera, with the capture cards, the stream deck, set everything up. And as soon as I'm going test 1 2 from the corner of my eye, I see something blue move in the corner of the fucking room. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I see this big bag move. And Ala Marcos just goes, oh guys, alright. For about an hour, man, he had been sleeping in there and I didn't notice. He just popped out of the side deck, half
I
asleep.
had to send him to sleep.
Yeah, I remember he had stayed awake a lot and you were trying to explain to him you're going to break down tomorrow when I need you.
It was like, no, I'll be fine. I was like, nope, no, you're not. I've been there. You're not going to be fine.
Gaming on your chair is different from working at a fucking LAN. You get fucking tired and once you're tired, boom, you need to sleep because then you're dead, man. It's.
I think he learned a lot this year.
That's what it takes to mold someone, man.
We didn't have events for a long time. Right? I've been used to operating at events alone, no crowds, no people to go around. So so it's nice that we're back to this level that we, because it's nice that people get to see it. Some
picked
people
off
don't
bigger.
Understand. Yeah. And some people don't understand sometimes that what they see on stream is not the full picture, because what you see on stream, effectively, if I'm taking care of it, is what I want you to see.
Yeah.
If I want the camera to move one way, I tell the camera guy to move that way, and that's what I want you to see. But the people who are there, who are in the audience, they see so many more things because we have to do a show for them as well, which is different because they're not looking at the screens, they're looking at the stage. They don't care that the camera's moving left to right. Fine, they can see it on the screen. But what they care is that there's this setup, there are all these players, they can see the players, and always have to keep in mind that there are two things going on. So a lot of people, and because a lot of people who these days watch streams rather than attend events, I think it's a bigger number of people, they don't realize there's all these things happening. And when you get to work in them, then you realize,
And it's a pity
it is, but I think that's been the same for most broadcasted stuff, right?
You know, the thing is, I think it's like you're saying, it's been like that, but then COVID really made it comfy to do everything online. So, like, I have issues, not issues, as in I find it harder sometimes, for example, to go watch bands live. When before my brain used to just say, even if I don't like the band, you go support them, speak to some friends. It could be also I had a kid. That could be a big part of it also. Like going out is extra. But I do see it that way. Likely after COVID, shit got so comfortable, getting used to the indoor life, the nice comfortable at home life. So most people won't go out.
A yes and no sort of thing, because when COVID hit, I think it affected me less than other people because I was used to. I mean, I play WoW. I'm used to being indoors for a long time.
Most people in our scene, in the esports and gaming scene,
staying inside,
talking on video, talking on microphones. Everyone had their shit set up. Everyone knows how it happens.
Like, I still speak to these WoW people I raid with. Most of them I've never met.
You never met them, exactly.
Yeah, we always speak in comms anyway. I'm used to it. Let's go.
And it's comfortable. You don't find it weird that you're talking with the headphone.
Get on and let's go.
So for us, it was a good transition. For us, not going out that much.
So when I say other people, I can't really relate to some of what these people felt, right? So I cannot see it really from that perspective. But from my perspective, it's nice holding events where you don't need to worry about health and safety for the public when laying cables, for instance, because that's annoying. But it also has a different feeling, right? So I remember when we did the second season of the E-Premier League, that was the biggest thing we did during COVID because we didn't do much else. We did a few national team matches, and that was just myself, the casters, the players, and one organizer. That's it. And the finals the grand finals of the E-Premier League, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, it was just us. So production, mainly myself, a couple of the organizers and the players. and of course the Sunday when you have the grand final, half the players are already home anyway. So all you really had, and you know, you start the stages early and people started going home anyway, because if I lost at 10 a.m. and I'm out, why would I stay until the final, right?
But that's what I find strange. Before entertainment events, like the end of it was the big deal when everyone's there.
It is. But there's a fundamental issue with that. I'll tell you what it is.
But you remember LANs, man. Like LANs, even if people got
but that
knocked
was
out, people
different,
used to
though.
stay to see the finals. Like now,
Sure,
it's
'cause
like
you had
the
to
end
carry
of.
the PC. You had to carry your PC, and maybe
No,
your parents had to come and get you.
But there were people who had already taken their shit, for example, and they would stay for a
And
final.
they would say, yeah.
Now,
That-
like the finals have the
it's-
least amount of
It's
people, which is
different.
fucked.
It's different. The issue with the final then, and I remember it because of course I was there until the end. I was there when people left. Is you get the winner, so it's the final match, and I don't really play. Last time I played FIFA was 2000, but I still enjoy watching these players at the high level play because it's interesting to see the competition, right? So I get into it, and the final matches are usually really, really good because you have really great players. And a lot of people miss the match because they're not there to see it. But the saddest thing to me is you get someone who is celebrating in a very silent room because you've got 10 people applauding you, including myself. Because
That's
it's
what
just
I
us.
mean. That's what I mean.
And there's this feeling of I won. I am the national champion.
And it's
But-
reduced with the lack of
yeah, but
enthusiasm
it's like
around you.
there's 10 people around me who are
Listen,
celebrating.
like
you know?
when we play live, like okay, now we have a lot of people who come to see us now, but I did a lot of years in the beginning when the crowd claps and you can count the amount of people clapping.
Yes, like I can hear they're desynced. They're not even clapping.
Exactly,
together.
there are like 9-10 people
Yeah.
clapping, and at that time you obviously thank fuck there are those 9-10 people
You're like,
clapping.
there's 9 people.
But it's still the sound of it is like fuck, you know, like the second you experience the first time a crowd cheering for you
Yep.
when you play live, and then at the beginning you don't always
If
have
it
a crowd.
goes lower than that, then you're like,
No, and that's how it
this
is
a
in the
bad
beginning.
place.
In the beginning,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
it is. Like now, there is a set amount of people who will pay to come see the show. Before, it used to be like
Yeah.
gig festival, more people, gig festival.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
then it
always
goes
doing
down, yeah,
this.
it's a
So
wave,
the
yeah.
second you play, kind of we experience something similar is when you play a big festival or you play things like the beer fest, and then you go play at a venue. Now we don't see it because we still have the people in front of us. But before, you used to say, "Oh my god!" Like the difference in the sound. So it is demoralizing when it happens. So
that's a sad part of it.
that's what I mean. Like they should find a way. You know the thing
But
is
that's
though.
sort of it also depends, right? Because if you have a big show happening, like PlayCon, people still stay there. And I'll give you one outlier that you cannot count in this, and that's the Tekken community. That's a special.
No, those
section.
are those
That's a
support
special-
each other.
Because
They're always there.
They're all,
Yes.
everyone's always there. So that's
a beautiful
We
scene.
cannot even use them as a benchmark because that's
No,
a
no,
ridiculously
that's
high
a
benchmark.
unicorn
So,
in
yeah,
multi
that's
multi
very
C
special.
sports.
Yeah.
But
They-
you know
not
what?
just
Actually,
us, Tekken in general is like that.
Yeah.
So it's like a,
it's true. Actually, you know
Yeah.
what else is like that? Tarkov, man. It's
Okay.
it's a scene where people are just fucking helpful. People like come on your stream after you kill them and tell you good job, man, you killed me, like blah blah blah, and like you or someone kills you, go on their stream and they tell you your shit's insured and they throw it away from you instead of beautiful scene. But it's an much older scene, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah,
Most of the
yeah.
players who play Tarkov are 30 plus. I noticed. Now another thing though, Cupert pointed this out to me. He told me the issue is this. He told me you're trying to promote esports in Malta, but then you're putting the big prize pools on Fortnite. He told me which is not an esports, will never be an esports, and I completely agree with him. I never thought about it. So his point was, obviously you're gonna try to play the 10K. And you're not going to try go into Valorant, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, and the competitive esports, which are the big ones. So you're kind of pushing people to play the game, which is not going anywhere. So I understand why GMR did it. Actually, like they want the kids, they want the parents, so they did the right thing at the end of the day.
It's also not just the GMR thing, of course.
No, and I'm not criticizing it. I'm saying they did the right thing.
No, I know
but
because they're working. they do a lot of good work, but I think they're working within this set
And
of constraints that they have to
exactly.
fill.
And
So
people need to understand, because I hear a lot of criticism about Play Economic. Yeah, things could have been better, things can always be better. But you have to understand, like Engine just said, these aren't just people sitting at the desk making the rules. There are a lot of conditions, there are a lot of other people interfering with your decisions. And at the end of the day, you have sponsors, people are giving you money, and they want to see people. So at the end of the day, you
you
have to
mentioned
think.
sponsors, so that's the what when we do a production, and I do this with GMR because I do most productions with them. When everything's settled down, when we're done, because usually when something's happening, there's a lot of agitation because it has to be done. Because
Yeah.
there's, as Keith has just mentioned, there's a number of sponsors that you need to please, and they don't care about if Mary at home had fun watching the
No.
stream. They care about did
People
you have
want
X amount of numbers, because
Exactly.
that's what we see. So when everything's settled down, I go to them, and the one question I ask is, were the sponsors happy with the end result? 'Cause we all know it could have been better because we do this work. We know what to improve. But did the sponsors like the end product? Yes, no. If it's yes, fine. We'll improve on what we think should be improved. If they're not fine with what happened and there's an issue, what was the issue and how do we fix it? So its primary focus is that, because that's who we rely on to make the event happen.
Exactly.
10,000 people coming to an event for free doesn't affect how much money we can spend on stuff.
Like, I could give an example. So maybe people who because the esports scene is pretty new and a lot of shit is behind the scene and
Yep.
it's not visible at all. So another explanation, an example I could give is, what is the reason why? Because this is a big discussion that happens in the music world. Like, the best musicians on earth are normally some session musician of a Britney Spears. So they're not
Yep.
the best of the best are behind the scenes, and the ones who
Yep.
aren't so good sometimes are the pop stars. And people say, like, why is it that way? And it's a very simple reason, that when you want to make money, basically, the way everything starts is from filling up a venue, and what the venue cares about is how much money they make on the bar.
Yep.
So they don't give a shit if you could do sweep picking and stepping, and so they don't care if 10 people come see you. If you get a dumbass or someone who's just attractive who will just fill up the place, they know they'll make more money from the bar. So obviously, the more attractive, the more marketed these people so the more mainstream you are, the more trendy, the more everyone
Yep.
might like you, the better it is. Now, esports, it's not underground, but compared to the traditional sports and music entertainment world, it's very underground. It's still tiny. I compare it a lot to the UFC. It's something growing so fast, but it's still underground at the end of the day, because it is video games, and most of the world don't see it that way. More than 3/4 of the world don't afford a fucking PC, so it's not like football. Every third world country has a football ground. There are a lot of things that will never grow as much as other entertainment because of limitations, but it's always going to boil down to how do you bring the money. So when you see these events in Malta, sometimes things could be better for the players, but people need to understand. If I let me just assume, if GMR did Valorant or a League of Legends tournament, there wouldn't have been that many parents and kids, and
No,
the sponsors wouldn't have been
definitely
happy, and there's a very big chance that next year they'll fund you less. You know what I mean? So people have to keep these things
We've
in
also
mind.
seen an issue in the past, and we're very aware of it with the local scene when it comes to team esports games. And that's also one of the reasons why it's very difficult to organize. We've seen this with so when LANs was still happening, Call of Duty was still big, and of course there were a lot of clans from back then.
Yeah.
But what started happening, I remember in 2017 when I wasn't even involved then, but in 2017 MRO, there was the battalion tournament, and there were an amount of teams. Once the tournament ended, the teams just cannibalized each other because you'd have one good player. That was the battalion. I think the Overwatch one was before. So Overwatch maybe was 2016
But
and 2017 was battalion.
what you're saying happened also on COD and CS,
They
man.
just keep cannibalizing. It's like you
Yeah.
have one player that's carrying the team, fine. And then he's like, well, these guys want me to play with them.
Exactly.
Bye. And all of a sudden, 8 teams become 2. Then what? You have no teams for next year, and then all of a sudden.
And if you notice, every tournament
issue.
is first place complete destruction, and the rest can compete.
They just cannibalize each other and have one good team.
It's hard to criticize it in a way, as in it is shit and it fucks up so many tournaments. I go through this bullshit all the time with the academy.
Michaela's fault every time, right?
Like, he takes everyone the best player. No, but listen, this is the thing. No, this is actually a very good thing you mentioned, Michaela, for example. So, what's the goal of an esports team? To sign the best players with such a small pool.
Well, you cannot,
When you sign the best players, you're always going to have one team that destroys everyone. Which, who's to blame? No one. It's just we happen to be born on a fucking tiny pool of players. So the bigger the pool is, the more chances of better players, better teams.
Why it's easier to do it with Tekken, which is a solo game.
Yep.
It's just you can grow, and that's why they grow so much compared to other players. Right?
And solo is so much more controllable. But what you're saying is true. Even sometimes I've noticed like lens, like some people have bad games, and the team just fucking disbands completely because they don't do it.
Yeah, and that's not how it.
Some teams don't enter because they know someone's going to do better than them. Those things are all shit.
We just used to go for fun.
NGEN, I need to go get a drink because I'm running out of Red Bull. Give me 2 seconds. You want to entertain or I put a beer back
I'll hold
screen?
the fort. I can hold the fort.
Enjoy, man. All yours.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here now. I took over. This is mine. I own this. I have to look up because chat is over there. For me, at least. Wait, let's show off. Hi. No chair stream. I'll let him take over so I can go for a fourth my nuts. Yeah. I'll have to go to the bathroom in a bit anyway, so I'll give you a chair stream. But yeah, I could spend hours just going on for about the industry. Everything I've already voiced, but we're working with a lot of constraints. I think that's the thing that's holding everything back. And we could make it work, but the players are one issue. When they're solo, yes, it's easier, but that also depends because you can have some players who are really well. Ethics is that's tricky. The mentality of locals, and not just ethics wise. I think in a lot of things we have issues, and I see it a lot. And I think the academy is doing a good job when it comes to that because I've experienced it. And one of the biggest issues are the parents themselves for the ones who are coming up these days. I remember clearly when I was still working at the bank, my manager came in one day. He knew I played games and I was casually streaming and so on. And he came in and he was like, "Hey, you're into gaming?" I was like, yeah. He said, yeah. I'm just gonna not send my kids to play football anymore and just let them play Fortnite so they can make lots of money. I was like, whoa, now. Hold on. And I knew the only way that I could explain this for him to understand was using an analogy he would understand. So in his case, I used football. So all his kids played football because he sent them to football. And I said, okay, let's look at it this way. We're in this country, right? And you send your kids to play for a nursery. And they're, I don't know. So let's say they're 8 years old. They're playing for this nursery. And there are 40 more kids playing with them. So you grab those from the nursery. And then how many of those kids are going to make it to the senior team, like going forward? And okay, so let's grab that pool, which is now smaller. And how many of those kids will make it to one of the premier senior teams? And let's put it there. Now, and that's now even smaller. And how many of these players have now made it to the national team? Or how many of these players have made it to a foreign team? And it's like, yeah, that's a really small pool. And that's the pool of all these kids that are the same age of your kids playing Fortnite that will make it. Just because you saw one guy do it doesn't mean you can do it. Right? It's hard work. That guy is really good. Just because your son won a game and you're like, he won. Yes, fine. That's probably matchmaking, pairing him with other people that are on his same skill level. Not this guy who is all the way up here, you need to understand
They
that
don't see
just
it that
because
way,
he
though.
won at home, yeah, my kid's amazing. He won a game.
They don't
But
see it at
no.
the level of professional sports because they're not into games. Like what I get a lot like this is, as soon as we have a talk, we talk about everything. You know, we talk about the industry, the benefits of it, blah blah. The things that make most of the parents' eyes just light up is once we start mentioning price pools.
Of course, yeah. It's
And
money.
in fact, at the at PlayCon, we had someone who said, "What? There's 10,000." And she turned to her daughter and told her, "You played the game." She's like, "Aha!" And she told her, "Like you're good." She told her, "I won one." She won one Fortnite game,
One.
and she told her, "Go compete. Maybe you win the." And like when I hear these things, or when I hear people say, "Lala," you know, like I should have taken video games, like and made all this money. I always tell them, "Why didn't
It's
you?"
hard.
No, not only it's hard. I always tell them, "Why didn't you remain playing football in the ground of school
Yeah,
to become
also that,
Ronaldo?"
yeah.
And they go, "What do you mean? You're like, why didn't you just keep on playing football and become the next Ronaldo?" And they tell you, because you don't just do it that way. And you start pointing out to them, like, do you think these fucking monsters who are aiming like robots are getting it by playing for fun? They're under all kinds of pressure, playing for all kinds of money. Yeah, some of them make.
My son watches Ninja all the time. Yes, Ninja's a
Exactly.
professional player. It's not. He's not there for fun.
It's exactly, and Ninja used to be a Liquid professional player with
Yeah,
Liquid.
that's
so
the thing. It's like,
so Shroud, people see Shroud stream. Like,
Yeah,
see what
yeah,
Shroud
but-
did. Fucking
yeah,
Christ.
look at Shroud play. You're not Shroud. Shroud
Yeah.
is a special.
And granted, even streaming, like you really need to have the character for. I'm not
It's-
saying I do. If you don't.
I
this-
think streaming is maybe even harder than competitive play. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you one reason why, right?
Yes and no.
Because competitive play you can get into and try, right? And then you'll realize, holy shit, these people are so good. Maybe I can either practice a lot, or I just move on to something else, which is fair enough. It's a choice you can make if you feel you're not really good at the game. That's fine. But with streaming, because it's so accessible and you keep on doing it, then sometimes some people don't realize that they're either doing it completely wrong, they're not getting anywhere, you're not growing enough. People
But isn't
go in,
isn't it the same for pro playing? People
think
play,
when you
they
get-
think they're good, and they don't understand what they're doing wrong, and they keep
it
on
depends
blaming
what
the
we're
teams.
saying by pro. If you know you're at pro already, if you're a pro player,
Yeah,
you
okay.
know you've made it to pro.
All right, this is the way I see it. I
And
think
you can tell with rankings, right?
Mhm.
If you're playing league and you're, I don't know the ranks in league, you're what, diamond, whatever. You know you're already way ahead of a lot of people in the country, right?
okay.
You're not grandmaster, fine, but
But
you're-
this is my
how do you
counter
do that with
argument.
streaming?
With your viewership and subscriptions.
But
That's
it's
your
not
rank.
always. It's not always what reflects it, right?
I know, but it's the same thing with pro. I can say I'm global in CS:GO. I'm not. I was global about 7 times, but if I had to play now, I'm silver. You know what I mean? So it's like there is something to gauge. I think I'm not. They're both fucking really ridiculously hard with giant competition. I think streaming. This is my counter argument. I think streaming is a bit easier because the one most important thing is pro playing. You have a very short time window. You have a very short
Yeah,
window.
that's true. Yeah.
With
We're
streaming,
already past that, so
with,
that's
s-
gone.
with streaming, it's kind of like the more you do it, the better you get. With pro playing, age will not let
See,
you.
but that depends. See that the statement of
100%.
how much you do it.
No,
right?
how you do it, and if
And
you're
how
actually
you do
good
it.
at it. No, I understand, but it's the
Yeah,
same.
that's the.
It's the same like
Yeah,
with
you
the
can
playing.
keep going for the rest of your life, right?
But what
if
I
you
mean
want to
is,
stream.
if you're doing it correctly, let's say you're playing pro, you're doing your training regimens correctly, your drills correctly, you're playing, you're listening to, so you're doing things right.
Yep.
You get to a time when your reflexes, everything slows down. With
Yeah, that's
streaming,
fair,
if you're doing things right,
Yeah, you can keep going
you'll probably grow.
until you die, pretty much.
Yeah, so there's a bigger window for streaming,
There's a bigger
and
window, but I think the fact that it's so much more. So getting into a pro team is hard. Getting onto Twitch is easy, if you consider that the platform, right?
okay, no, I know what you mean.
So
But
you're there. It's accessible. You have a long time that you can do it in, but a lot of people really don't understand that. Like with pro playing, the player understands that by the time they're 35,
yes,
I mean,
yes,
by the
yes.
time they're 30 these days, but by the time they're 35, that's their career. So if by the time, if by 25 they're really not pushing
You
anywhere.
know
They
it's done.
know,
You go
yeah.
to some,
But with streaming, the issue is that you can keep going, you can
and you
grind
never know
really
when you're
hard,
going to hit
and you
or if
never
you hit.
realize that. And
True.
the biggest mistake is not the grind itself. Which, I mean, I think the grind is a mistake because you shouldn't heavily grind. You should balance
Yeah.
it out with other stuff. But the biggest thing is people find it really hard to identify their own mistakes. So you're streaming every day. You're streaming for an entire year. By the end of the year, you've
Yeah.
not gained a lot of viewership. You're on the verge of burnout, and you're probably on the verge of mental breakdown. I can't grow. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing everything right. It's just this mentality that I'm
No,
doing everything right.
I agree fully on that. I'll get back to this what you're saying. In fact, because of something that was on Facebook lately in the streamers
And
channel.
that's one of the ones I'm mentioning.
Uh,
The
w-
target there is completely wrong.
what I want to go back to though, the other point was another thing I say with streaming is like to be pro, you have to be a really good player. So it's one thing you
Yeah.
have to meet.
That's a
With
given.
streaming, you kind of have, you can be funny, you can be serious, you can be a good player.
Yeah.
You can, so there are kind of more openings. But back to the point what we were saying, because lately on Facebook, someone, let me not mention his name. Maybe he doesn't want
No,
it.
no. Let's just keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he mentioned like that. I kind of forgot how it was, but something about not seeing growth, or maybe what can
Yep.
he do, or asking for some, maybe someone to shine a light on maybe what he could be doing. And I noticed that most of the, in fact, it's I wrote, most of the opinions were the typical go on YouTube, how can I grow as a streamer? And he tells you do this, do that. Not to be a parrot and just say repeating shit, because I think I did it last podcast. Like I was seeing how I was streaming. I had to stop because of a kid, and I was like, this isn't really doing anything much. I started seeing what was happening in my streams when I was getting most views. I figured out talking was the best thing I was doing. I was getting most engagement, so I decided to start doing things which involve podcasts, game shows. So I think it's about. It's hard, man, because even game shows have been done a million fucking
Of course.
times. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start testing out different waters, I guess. Because what I'm seeing a lot is, and again, please don't take it anyone personally. I'm not trying to criticize anyone here, but most people put the camera on, play the game, and interact with chat, which is hard on itself to do it, Tajfir,
Yep.
don't get me wrong. But if you do that for a whole year and you're not seeing any growth, it's like something needs to change, because you could be really good at it, but there are so many people doing the same thing that you're hard to come across.
Yeah,
you live in
you need
Malta,
Yeah.
so all your other social media won't work well to promote you. So you have to find new ways. New ways are really important. So maybe instead of new ways, what I should have told the person is like, which I did in a private chat we had, your character, like how are you, like see what's doing well with you, and you have to transfer that onto stream, sort of thing. So it's tough. You can't really give an opinion. Like what we do at the academy, in fact, is we never tell people this is the formula. There's no formula, but we tell people what work ethic, what
Yeah.
helps, like the
It's a
branding.
guideline. It's not
Exactly.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
can help you push. If you're working hard and you do these things, you're bound to find some success. But if you're working hard and not doing these things, you're wasting time. Same thing with the training. If you're just playing, but you're not doing drills, you're not spending time with teamwork,
Yeah.
you're kind of wasting your skill and your time. So like we push people and try to explain what's the best way to try achieve the highest you can achieve. But it's tough, man. It is tough to find new things. Even podcasts. I live on podcasts.
It's hard to do.
It's
It's-
fun.
I mean-
A lot of people did it. It's fun. So you have to also podcast. Like every time I do one, I try find new things that will attract attention, like with the topics we're bringing up, without restricting things to certain topics. So
Yeah.
it's I guess it's sort of trial and error, trial and error. So
The so I've been wow. Now that I say it, 10 years ago was the first time I streamed on Twitch. That was whoa. But I think you have to use those first streams, and that's I think the most important part of growth. Not a year later, and I mean now it may sound a bit too late for some people, but you need to use the first streams to identify your audience, what they're enjoying, what they like. Not necessarily what I like doing best, it's what they like. So, for instance, because I mentioned Battlefield earlier, it wasn't the fact that I was an amazing player at Battlefield. I'm not, I wasn't, I still am not today, I won't be. But the fact that I had a challenge that I would do and I didn't take it seriously, people would find the fact related. Most of the clips they would take is me getting blown up, crashing planes, and you know, I was just there to have a good time and uh, unlock these guns. That was my target. So having a target, I think, is important. Um, and I would also make it a point to relate with, and you cannot do it once you grow, but with the first few people, it's important that you relate with these people at a more personal level because they're there for you. And when you're good at a game, people will come in for a game. If you're doing variety, which is what I do mainly anyway, um, if we cut WoW out of the equation, um, they need to relate to you, not to the game. So you have to be the primary focus. If they're not going to like you, they're not going to like your stream. So you have to start understanding who they are as people. You talk to them in Discord after the stream ends. Ask them questions about the stream. They can be really helpful. You'd say, "Listen, did you enjoy the stream today? Did you want to see something different? Do you have something in
the
mind?"
feedback is extremely important.
Sometimes they'd be like, but maybe you played this game, now you finished it, so maybe consider this game. I like this game, maybe play it. And that's how I started moving into different games, right? So, and some of them are really, really, really helpful. Sadly 2022 was a bad year for my guys on Twitch. I had a head moderator because he was the, not that I have tons of moderators, but this guy used to take care of a lot of the things, and he was really close. Who sadly was murdered in 2022. So that was by
What?
yeah
Jesus.
yeah possessive boyfriend, and yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that when we did. Yeah, that was.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a good year like we all. The
Yeah, man.
worst thing was seeing his accounts pop up because someone hacked into his accounts after a few months later, and we started seeing him come up in Discord.
No.
And his other close friend that is still one of my mods was like, "Yeah, this guy." Yeah, they hacked his PlayStation account. It came up as well. It's like, okay, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah,
and
man,
the way I know these guys is
fucking tough, huh?
the way I know these guys, the way they didn't join my stream through anything. They randomly came into my stream. I don't know what game I was playing. It was probably Battlefield.
Oh, that's when you know you're doing a good job, when someone comes on and stays because they enjoy it.
As I asked, they subbed the first day. They came in, they both subbed. And I asked them, and one of the really blunt one, the one we still have with us today, he was like, "Yeah, we were drunk. We said, let's go and find a stream we like. We went into it. You looked like Kratos. We gave you money, and now we're still here." I was like, great. And the guy, it's like that to me. That's one of the highlights, right? I could have thousands of followers, viewers, whatever. That to me is a highlight. You came in from nowhere,
and they liked you. That's the best.
And you're
that's
like,
the best.
Wow, great.
That's the best. In fact, something similar is like, since we have quite a few local streamers and they do much better than I do. So when like they're not streaming, I kind of borrow some of their viewers. So as soon as they switch on their stream, most of my viewers will disappear.
Yeah, they'll go away. Yeah.
But there are some who were always there, and then I noticed when I'm streaming, they stay on mine, and I'll be like, look, those 3, 4 are the ones I did a good job with. Those stayed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm stealing viewers. So don't get me wrong, guys.
No, but that's the rewarding part,
when
right?
when you figure out, okay, they all left because Max started streaming, Spooner started streaming. You understand it. I'm borrowing.
That's fine.
I'm just borrowing because he's the main guy they want to watch. But then there are the
really
few,
small, right? So.
exactly. But the few that stay. I have a question before you mention something, because I disagree with a lot of people on this. Before you mention something about for a change, do what you like doing for the stream.
Yeah.
Because I noticed a lot of people giving that opinion. What do you think about that opinion?
Now, you need to do what you like doing has its boundaries, right? I'll take an easy example. I like playing the guitar. I don't know how to play it amazingly. I like playing. I try to practice a bit every day just so I can stay in the loop, and it does help. usually during work break. I found that really helpful, actually. Um, but I wouldn't do that on stream as much as I enjoy it because I know that's not an enjoyable experience. Because you could, I mean, go to a class of people learning guitar and watch them mess up anyway. So why would you sit with me for an hour while I'm messing up? Some people would still come regardless of what you're doing, but it's not a way to grow because someone's going to join the stream and they'll be like, oh, what the fuck? Out again, right? So what I mean with what do you enjoy doing is don't force yourself into a trend if you don't like it. Say everyone's playing Fortnite and they're like, hey, everyone's watching Fortnite. Let me play Fortnite. I don't like the game. Why?
Okay, but I definitely agree. Never force yourself into a trend. But let's
You know,
say,
like,
let's say you were confident with your guitar, because I don't know what your skills are. But let's say you're confident enough, you're a good guitarist, and you'll play on stream. What I'm trying to say is this: I don't really believe in, to a certain extent, do what you like doing. As in, your goal in life should be to try and make your passion a paid job, obviously. But
of course.
a job is a job at the end of the day. So if you're doing streaming to try to do it full time, you have to see it as a job. So for example, music, why I asked you, like, for example, what if you were a good player? Like, I play with Club Murder. I would love to be a rock star, obviously. Everyone, as a kid would have loved to be a rock star. No shit. You would love to be rich off music and go around the world, obviously, but you have to be realistic. So I play music because that's what I like, and I play metal, so it's very underground. So it's for a select few people, and we play what we like, and we hope other people like it. If I was trying to make music my job, I would play what everyone likes on purpose, because I'm trying to sell. So, for example, when it comes to music, if you had to tell me, let's do a Coldplay kind of song, I'll tell you to go kill yourself. But if we're speaking about music videos, that is my job, not my passion, and tell me we're going to film a Coldplay, I'll be like, no problem. Like, let's try to do it as good as possible, because that's my job. So what I mean is, if you're into Warzone and into Tarkov, like, for example, I am, and you see that's not going anywhere, and that's what you'd like to do, you have to stop fucking doing it. So, for example, the game show is fun. What's fun for me in the game show is the amount of people that come on stream, because I get a lot of people, seeing the contestants have fun. But there's nothing fun with what I'm doing behind the scenes, because most of the time I'm like, must not fuck up, because I'm switching through 432 banks all the time. So if it was up to me, I would do podcasts. I love this the most. I sit down, comfortable, have a drink, smoke a cigarette, talk to NGEN, you know what I mean? But it doesn't get me my potential views that the game show gets me. Also, podcast, I don't even... Like, preparation for the podcast. I take a whole week preparing the thing, preparing the stream deck, preparing OBS, preparing the questions and all the shit. When it comes to a podcast, not that much. I do a bit of research about the person, write some notes down, and if it gets to them, we talk about them. So the comfortable thing is...
So you should have a fallback always, right? So we could... but we could do it even in, like, monetarily. If I do a small event, I don't get paid much because it's a small event. If I do something like PlayCon, I can charge a lot more because it's a huge event that takes weeks of prep, so I need to charge for that.
Exactly. But you can charge for that. For a stream, you can't charge.
But I'll come to it, though. So it's more comfortable for me to do the smaller events because it's easier money. It's almost brainless. It's so simple at this point as a setup. And I actually don't enjoy doing it much. I do it because it's part of other events, so I have to. I enjoy doing the big events, but they are stressful. And then you have last minute surprises, as Adam's saying, and those always happen. But you get these stresses that are sometimes, you have this week that's gone from your life. You're not doing much. I don't come home much. I just come home and sleep and so on. So there's that, and really the end goal after that is making that bigger, and then that becomes sort of your career, right? So what you need to do, in my opinion, when you're streaming, so you have your big things. So if you're really good at Call of Duty and you're not getting anywhere, you're still going to play the game because you're really good. So that's there. That's what you want to do. That's there. But you also need to identify from that what the other viewers want, who's watching you wants. And you need to start trying to merge them together. I make it sound easy. It's really hard to identify stuff and try merging them. But some things to do are just making these challenges out of it.
Trying to merge them together is extremely hard, like you're saying.
It is really hard.
But my issue, much issue, but what I see as a problem is, like, for example, you have people, let me mention some people like Joel. Joel is extremely good at Call of Duty. It's a no-brainer. He's going to play Call of Duty, and if someone like Scott then goes on the stream, he's going to be like, fuck, this guy is good, you know? So you're going to stick around because he has a lot of skill to offer. Got picked up by a team, you know what I mean? So in his case, it's a no-brainer. You are really good at something.
When you have
streaming.
a good player, that's
Exactly.
that's a lot easier because they already have the skill. That's
the easy.
So that's easy.
Easy decision.
Easy. Yeah. It's
easy to take your part. Like, obviously, your first choice would be try show my skill because you already have that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
if I was amazing at guitar, I'd be playing guitar on stream. I mean,
beginning of time entertainment, fire juggling,
and yeah.
As that. So if you have that, that's easy. Like, you know what you're going to do. But if you're not a pro player, you're just good at it. So you're not going to cut it by just being good at the game. And you've been streaming for a long time, and you realize, my stream grew a little bit. It's not going to take me anywhere. To find out what you're doing and then merge it, like the merging part is hard. But I'm saying most people don't go into even trying to find out. They just keep hoping.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. Just saying something's wrong because I'm not growing. And then even if when someone points out to you, listen, this is wrong because it's not clear cut what you should or shouldn't do. Because if it was clear cut, then everyone would be.
But sometimes what's wrong is clear cut.
Yeah, sometimes what's wrong is clear cut. The problem is the person doesn't want to accept that that's wrong. And if 10 people tell you this is wrong, and you're like, no, that's not the problem, then clearly the issue is you not understanding where the problem is because people are telling you.
So that's my question.
If people don't tell you, then it's harder because you have to identify the problem.
And that is my question, NGEN, in fact. Like, obviously, there are, we don't need to mention names, but most of the local streamers we know well and we're friends with, you know what I mean? Like, including me and you. We get a certain amount of viewership. So, why, I don't know, is it an ego thing that most of them would say?
I think that's the biggest issue.
But is it just ego, or could it be? How many of them?
It could be ignorance.
How many of them? How many of them are trying and doing different things, but they don't work? Because, like I said before, like, you can't tell someone this is the formula because there isn't. But you can try teach someone. You're going by it the wrong way.
You also have the issue of trying something different, but not trying it enough for it to make enough of an impact for you to analyze that. So.
Or maybe it's not so different because some people do things and it won't be really different.
I play World of Warcraft and tomorrow I'm going to play another MMO. And great, okay, so you're moving to another MMO.
Yeah, it's a bit you need some continuity with certain games.
And I do it once. I get the same amount of viewers as WoW, maybe, or a bit less. And I'm like, okay, it's terrible. But I did it once. So if I do it 10 times, what's going to happen? Will the numbers grow? Will they go lower? We tried something simple when Apex launched, right? We had the idea and the push to try to get an Apex tournament set up. We already had the stuff for the servers and so on. And we said, let's promo it and put a stream up. And I put a stream up on my channel on Twitch with Kirsten and Andre from GMR. And we set up a trio at the Invent 3D studio when it was still in Zabar, and we said this is going to be completely Maltese, and we tried that, and it was a time where I used to average maybe 15 viewers, so it wasn't a huge amount, but everyone who joined who wasn't from there was like, okay, what's going on? This is okay. Nope, we're out, and we had an average of 3 viewers, and that's why I say that Maltese doesn't really work if you want to grow, because we've tried it before. Some things people have tried before you have. They're telling you it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
And you keep trying to get on this.
You keep trying the same thing. You're not doing something different.
It's not going to work. So you need to quantify it, right?
That's what I mean. Like most.
If you have viewers, get feedback. If you're not getting feedback from your viewers, that's the first mistake. They are there. They're watching you. They know why they're watching you.
And take
ask
the
them
feedback.
Why.
And take the feedback.
Yeah, and take it.
Like,
and
for example,
ask them to be honest.
For example, I'm pretty experienced with broadcasting, with production. I'm very experienced in when it comes to production with videography and design and stuff like that. The first time I did the game show, the next day Spooner spoke to me and told me, dude, he told me the cameras are small for the mobile. He told me, what if you try center them? And I was like, it would fuck. But his point was extremely valid.
Yeah.
It was, fuck your questions and your design. The people want to see
Yeah.
people. That's what he told me in a polite form. Like, that's the way I would have said it. Like, fuck your
I
design.
do that to Spooner with a lot
And,
of his.
and he was right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes you just need to say, like, yeah, you have to understand why a person's criticizing, giving you an opinion. And that might be the ego issue a lot of people don't take.
Yeah.
What I think mostly it is, though, isn't...
Max.
Last time they told me my penis was getting wet.
Wait.
Hello,
wait.
Max.
As wide as this.
Oh, mine is white. Oh, cool. Look, my hands are open. I have fucking monkey arms. No, so this is what I mean.
It is an ego thing, and I think it's a Maltese thing.
I think it's a lazy thing, man. Because there must
look.
be new shit that people can do. Like, not new shit for stream, not for TV. Shit that has been done on TV for. Let me tell you, the game show again.
sure.
Let me go back to the game show. And the fact is, Max in checked. Max can confirm. About 2 years ago, I told Max, so with your personality, I would suggest something like a game show. And I had told him, see what game shows are already available.
Yeah.
I did my own everything now, alright. But I decided, alright, I went through Twitch trying to look for game shows. I wasn't really finding. I was finding people playing actual games that were like, but I wasn't actually finding. That's all I've been trying to do, man. See, like, what's not being done on Twitch that had the attraction of TV?
Yeah,
People
it
don't watch
takes
TV
time.
anymore. See music, man. How many during... Fucking, this fly is driving me nuts. During COVID, the amount of musicians quit touring because of COVID, and after the tour
and they were
anymore.
all playing on
And
stream.
everyone's playing on stream. And I
Everyone,
watch
yeah.
a lot of them. And in my head, I was like, fuck, man. I was like, imagine Dimebag Daryl was like, when I was young, he was on Twitch and I could ask him questions. And seeing him write songs which eventually would turn up in an album. So that's what I mean. Like everything that was on TV, people aren't watching TV. Kids aren't watching TV. They're watching mobiles and PCs. So if you could transfer an idea that was good on TV onto stream, it would be perfect. The issue with this, because there are a lot of things you could do, is budgets. Because you need budgets.
Budget is a big issue. Budget is a big issue.
Like Max just said, I hate myself for stropping drums. Like if I was, for example, Max was a fucking good drummer, man. I'm pretty sure he still is if he catches up again. He's watching drummer on Twitter, all media. Exactly. They're not really good. They're just covering what they know. Max, most of them, what I noticed is they on command can do covers, so they practice a bunch of covers. Like Max was really good with drums, and if he picks it up, he'll be good again. Like I would fucking stream my drumming, man. If I was a DJ, which was that good that can impress modern young DJs, I would do it.
Yeah.
Because it's new, man. It's new, and there's what's his name who's doing it? Oh, El Siberiano. He's a fucking monster. The guy who has been doing one-handed drumming. Allah.
The TikTok guy.
Mala, he live streams work, and he's fucking made it, man. That guy. I watch most musicians on Twitch set up cam in garage and do it. Exactly, you just set up the cam in the garage. The problem would be connections, maybe, but you can still find ways.
I could just mention the few guitarists we all know.
Exactly, yeah, that's Isma. Somewhere or another, I was going to bring up this conversation because
It's huge.
So let me tell you how it started, how I remember it. So I went to the academy a few years ago, and NGEN was setting some shit up for us.
I don't remember what it was.
You were
we
I don't
were
know,
doing.
you were setting up some shit, and I was talking to you, and I noticed you were listening to some guitarist, and in my head I was looking
That
at
was
him.
Nick Johnson.
And I was like, this guy is good. Not my style, but this guy is good. Like, and I told you, I remember, like I told you, you like guitar, and you started trying to tell me because you didn't know what I was like, and
Yeah.
you were trying to explain to me, like, you like technical, you know what I mean? Like, not just guitar.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you, have you heard Polyphia, man? And I remember telling you, check these guys out.
I
And
had vaguely when you told me about Polyphia, it was the time they released Goat.
probably a bit later. Yes. Probably.
So yeah, and I think I had watched them on YouTube before, but it was something of their earlier stuff, maybe. And
The earlier stuff was very progressive. In fact, it wasn't this new.
yeah,
In fact, this is what I think. Like, you know how let's mention Steve Vai since he was in a video with them.
I mean, Steve Vai. I met Steve Vai.
I did too actually.
Did you go when he came?
Yes.
To the,
And
yeah,
even
so,
and abroad, not met, but festival, very close.
no, when he was here, I had to get the.
So Steve
the
Vai,
VIP thing.
Steve Vai was amongst Ingrid Mangstein and Joe Satriani and John Petrucci, but he did something so different and soulful on guitar that he did something where he basically brought a bunch of people into guitar again. So an analogy for that is like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because of UFC. Jiu-Jitsu has been...
Andre plays Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
there you go.
Practices.
Practices. Fights it.
Plays.
So
Plays.
Jiu-Jitsu is an Asian art form, and then the Gracies basically have developed this perfect style of Jiu-Jitsu, of groundwork, and because of the UFC, f'daqqa waħda, a million gyms of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu opened all over the world. And Steve Vai had done this. I think Tim Henson just did this with guitar again. He played such a modern, new, fucking cool style, and not heavy, so a lot of people can pick it up because it's semi-heavy, it's semi-distorted.
I mean, there was an interview released, I think late last week, with Tim Henson. Who was the guy that did the interview? Anyway, the guy has a recording studio anyway, and he had, I think it's an hour interview with Tim Henson.
Okay.
And he speaks to him about a lot of things and about the techniques because they're Tim Henson's techniques are insane.
Fucking right.
But he also spoke about some things that he does in reverse.
Sorry about that, 1 second. Because I was putting up a video and an ad came on. Sorry, I was going to show everyone who Tim Henson was. Sorry about that, Engine. Go ahead,
Fine.
sorry.
And some things he does in reverse.
Yes. Okay, I know which interview you're talking about.
So I think he said it on multiple interviews, but with playing God, for instance, he said that first he wrote the arpeggios on his DAW. So he knew, I mean, a PC could play it, right? Because a PC can play anything you tell it. And then he had to train himself to do it on the guitar. So first he didn't limit himself. So a guitarist usually, what does a guitar? I mean, Steve Vai's method, right? It's in his head, and then he translates it to his fingers. It does it on the guitar. Then he writes it down, and that's it. Tim goes beyond the box that is the guitar. He's like, I don't care what the guitar does.
What does the end sound exactly?
Yeah. I just want to play this, and the PC does it, and then somehow
he manages to translate that onto guitar.
Translate it to my regardless of how impossible it is.
How he wrote, I think OD, it was like a song of Kanye West. He loved the way it sounded, so he wrote the song of Kanye West himself digitally, sort of thing. Then he started saying, okay, these notes would sound better in this, the minor, for example, and starts fucking around. Let me just show people, not a whole song, just a small part of a collab, of a shred collab. Who Tim Henson is, just so people who are here get a bit of an idea.
This is the last year,
fucking,
think, right?
Oh my god, that is... Okay, I have to interact. Give me a sec, guys. It's being a bitch. So that's one, and I would like to show another one. This is my actual fucking favorite. Jesus Christ.
signature guitar.
And that's another thing. Apart from a completely, this
3
guy,
signatures.
he's basically got trap music, and he made trap music done by real. Because even if you hear his drummer, man, the drummer is playing
Yeah, the
trap
drummer's
music.
nuts. The drummer's nuts.
Yeah, he's playing trap with all the offbeats, with all the weird, fucking extremely fast cymbals and 32s, and it's crazy. Like the whole
And
thing they put together.
Ultra precise.
Ridiculous. Good night, Max. Thanks for
Night, Max.
Voyager, and happy New Year to you too. Actually,
I think all of them as a pack, because most of us just see Tim as the front man, right? And Tim is amazing. But I think in the latest album, especially
the other guitarist, man.
especially in Egot, I mean, Scott is
Fucking Christ.
and you see,
in
and
playing
they started
good.
giving him more, you know.
In playing good, man. His first like Spanish guitar type classic solos.
It's-
No, but even during the album of Goat, what the fuck's it called? The shit he does is fucking cool. Tim is, I think, like the guy who made them famous because, again, social
Tim
media,
is, I mean,
YouTube.
you have a front man, right? And Tim is the perfect.
And he's a
person
content
to
creator,
support.
man.
Yeah.
Like there's a band called Slaughter to Prevail, like super heavy death metal, like deathcore. They're good, they're really good, but they are gigantic because the vocalist is a monster. He has a YouTube channel and he's huge on YouTube. So basically, he's a
Yeah,
content
that's
creator
how
and
it
he could
grows,
do what
right?
he wants.
So,
But
And
Tim
it-
Henson, his sound is
but now
really
what
original,
he's
man.
doing, I think Polivia's channel is over 1 million now, and I think
Oh, that
Tim
is
is close to
ridiculous,
a
yeah.
million himself
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well now. So
The social
And-
media is
and-
insane.
he again, even when it came to that, he went outside the box, right? Because when you see the type of content, so typical band, right, would put out a music video, goes on YouTube, amazing. Maybe they play it. They have an unplugged version. They do a live, whatever. They post those. That's where it ends, you know. And most of the other stuff is just fan cams, people in, you know, whatever. They're getting their cameras out and so on.
Yeah.
But with Polyphia, the difference is, and this happens 2 days after the track is out. First, the track is out, and they're like, here's the track. Here's all the tabs. They're available. You can buy them. And that's there.
Exactly.
So they're making money off that because people are going to learn how to play it anyway. So why not sell it? And people buy the
and
tabs.
this tactic is being used a lot. It's basically
Yeah.
making other people use your content instead of what it was like before. Like,
Yeah, it's like play my song. It just
perfect-
makes me more famous. Just
exactly.
play
And
it.
and a perfect example. I don't know if you're following, but I'm sure you've heard of Andrew Tate.
Yeah, of course.
How did the guy explode? Not with his channels. He knew he gets traction, so he was allowing people to post his videos.
Yeah, just do his stuff, and then you.
They made him famous. He wasn't making money, but they made him famous that could make him a lot more money. And I think Polyphia, instead of like this hiding thing, they're actually
No, they're
encouraging
like, this is
people.
us do it.
So they
I mean-
and they do reviews of people playing their songs all the
They
time.
did that. They also did the contest for when they gave away the TOD10N. They
exactly.
were like, you cover any of our songs, we pick one, you get the guitar.
Exactly. They're
It's like-
making people push
it's
their
like, come
music
to
for
us,
free.
we'll give you.
And then they do funny
It's
shit.
so-
Like you saw the one when they
Yeah.
play it with their mouths, they play all the song.
Yeah,
All
that's
do it.
the acapella.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But
No,
it's
but
good. It's funny.
They do. So there's this, even on a more serious level, there's the song that comes out, the music video comes out. And this is not a song they just made yesterday. Like, Playing God was in the making for 2 years before it
Fucking
came
right,
out.
yeah.
That was pre-COVID. And then it came out. And there's the demo and whatever. And then after it came out and everything was like, what the fuck? How do I get this guitar? Where is it? So already the guitar that was a flop and Ibanez didn't want to make again because
Exactly.
they told him, this is a flop. This is why you don't see these guitars. He bought it in Germany for about 700 euro or something, and he really liked it. And the reason he was playing the nylon is because he doesn't like steel string
Yeah.
classical, because he doesn't like the feel. He found it, and Ibanez goes, no, we don't want to make this because it flopped in 1998. Why do you want this? But he's like, I really want this guitar.
The sound, the tone of
Then
it is
it's-
fucking
it's
brilliant
different.
now. Huh?
And then he's like, if I send you a demo, and he sent the demo of Playing God with that guitar, and they're like, okay. And then they made,
So they made it for him with his
they
signature
made it
now.
for,
eh?
and now it's his signature. But even the marketing around this guitar itself shows the
Yeah,
amount
exactly.
of content him and Ibanez can put out. So Playing God comes out. Few days later, he releases a video that's about a minute long. It's him in his studio playing it unplugged.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he's playing God Unplugged, and you're like, whoa, okay, now we can see him doing it casually with his feet up on the
With
desk.
his feet
Great.
up.
It's like, wow, I can't even do this if I fully concentrate. Great. After that, 2 days later, you see Scott coming with his part, and it's like, this is this guitarist's part.
And Scott's
3
part,
days after
fuck.
that, the bassist
Drummer
comes
and the
in,
bass,
then
exactly.
the drummer, and they're like, everyone's doing.
Everyone does
It's
their
like-
job online, man.
So it's not just the music being released, the music video coming out this day. You have a whole month
Exactly.
of content that they've planned.
The same
following
way,
it.
the same way they would plan to release the album, they're doing it in every video to show.
Yeah, every single.
They're
one.
trying to milk the fuck out of it, basically, the right
and
way.
it's working.
It's fucking right. I think
figured
that's
and
what
they
needs to
still
be
play
done.
live shows, and that's how their live shows are sold out fucking instantly. because-
Yes, and yeah, but apart from that, then they blew up beyond. So that I'm sure, and they're so original also. So it's like they hit. It's like sort of to compare them to like when Slipknot came out. They were new. They were 9 people.
Yeah,
they had
it's-
masks.
yeah.
It was a full package. It's impossible not to
I
look
mean,
at
the
them.
fact that these guys, I mean, now they're a bit older now because I think they're close to my age. Tim is maybe like 28 or something. I think.
Sure, let me check.
And
And by the way, thank you very much, Mocha, for the raid. Hello, viewers. Let me see how old
Tim
he
Hens
is.
is 29. He was born in 93.
Oh, see, okay, I thought he was younger.
So, he looks much.
See how young he looks, eh? What a weird,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
he
he's
looks so
29.
young.
So I mean, but a guy who is my age, who wrote a song, and his band wrote a track, released it, and it's featuring Steve Vai. This is not Steve Vai. This is featuring Steve
Exactly.
Vai.
So
And
Steve
the guy
Vai
still speaks
accepted.
like, Steve Vai is our idol. This is Steve Vai is why we play guitar, and now he is on our song as a guest. It's like.
Oh, I'm going to say blasphemy, but he's boring compared to them. Now I love Steve Vai. He's
the
one of
different
the
thing-
pioneers of music, not just of guitar. But with the new modern shit they're doing,
The thing, though,
they're giving me problems listening to the old guitarists, man.
I mean, Ichika is amazing because it's
Oh.
the same. It's all the math rock type. So
That's
Ichika and
another
Manuel
thing.
and-
That's another thing I was gonna tell you. Where were these people before? They got so influenced from Tim Henson. It's no, apart from
Yeah,
Ichika. Ichika was there,
Ichika,
but the rest.
Ichika was featured in Polyphia.
But the rest, man, the rest-
with Death Note. Yeah.
But the rest, no man.
And
The
I
rest.
think Manuela, there's something that I also and this is why I want one. And I think the way Ibanez designs their guitars makes
My
it a bit more
favorites.
flowing to
Always my favorite.
because Steve is Ibanez, Polyphia are all Ibanez.
Almost all my
And
ex-metal
Ichika is
guitarists that I
Ibanez.
loved
Everyone's
as
on
that.
Ibanez. It's like why?
And don't tell me that wasn't Tim Henson though. He
With
created.
Ibanez.
Yeah, he
I mean,
created.
Steve Vai has been Ibanez since.
No, wait, 1 second. Ibanez, forget Steve Vai for a second. If you go into the metal scene, Ibanez used to dominate before. So
Yeah, I
Ibanez
mean,
was
the 80s,
always.
they're still releasing stuff from
That's
the
right.
80s.
They were always gigantic. But what I mean is, like, the new sound Tim Henson managed to create with his plugins and the Ibanez made everyone want an Ibanez guitar, basically. You know? I always
want
loved
all
it.
of them.
No, I have it, but I have an Ibanez. You know, Ibanez has
I
always
don't-
been
I
my
don't-
favorite.
I
I had the Steve Vai one, I had the RG series, and I have.
I want an RG. I want
Seven.
the TOD10. I want the THBB10.
No, there's a lot too.
And,
But even this whole
eventually,
classic
eventually.
Spanish sound, I think Tim Henson brought back.
But then there was, and he explained in the interview actually who he was. This is something else about Tim. Tim
The-
knows he's a good player, right?
the
He
riffs.
knows he's amazing.
And he takes risks
But-
from other people, eh?
But he gets lessons from these. To do the classical parts, he went to Marcin, the guy who does the classical stuff.
and what's his
He
name?
went to Tosin.
Yeah, exactly. Tosin Obazi taught him how to do
Yeah,
the whole
he taught
slap,
him the
and I think
slap, yeah.
I think now he plays it better, to be honest, than Tosin.
And
Listen,
he's like,
another
I go
thing.
To these guys.
Playing God, the first solo that comes in.
Yeah.
Even that, apparently, like it was given to them, and there were also some other riffs where he
Yeah,
asks
he
some
is-
other people,
yeah,
"You
they
have any
picked it up
riff
from
laying
other
around?"
stuff. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he'll just take it and make
Yeah.
it his own. So that's another thing I love, and I compare it a lot to. It's gonna sound weird, but I'll explain to martial arts, because it's the new wave of doing
You
things.
adapt. I mean, guitar has been there for hundreds of years. and
But
you're just
like I compare it to martial arts,
evolving it.
evolving, but not like evolving for sure, but the reason how it's and why it's evolving. So before martial arts, it was always this thing where my style is better than yours. Kung Fu will beat karate, this will beat that, this will beat that. So it's a lot of secrets. When MMA comes out, it was like, this works, I'll need to learn it. Well, let me not say MMA, because this is why I got into MMA. Bruce Lee is the one who started doing this. He decided, fuck my tradition and these like must stick to, like if I think this works better, I'm gonna learn it. If I need groundwork, he started learning groundwork, jiu-jitsu. So I think guitar became the same way now. It's like borrow from here, get influence from here, like we were saying, the way Polyphia write the music, Tim Henson.
I think we
he
can
gets a song he likes.
What you just said, I think we can relate completely to streaming at
Exactly.
this point.
That's what I was going to get to.
The guy that has the skill. So you've got these new guys that are coming up that are adapting and making this. I mean, that's skill. So Tim Henson, Manuel Fernandez. You see these guys play and you're like, this level of skill is insane. You have Steve Vai, who has a lot of skill, amazing guitar.
A different style of playing.
But he's not as technical as Tim.
He's not as fast as Tim, because he is as technical, but different.
Not as fast.
It's very different style.
There's a different entertainment level, because if you watch Steve play, we always say he's just making love to the guitar, right? He's just.
But that's
whatever
exactly
the guitar
it.
does, his mouth does.
I think
he's channeling.
I think Steve Vai played sexy music, and I think
Yeah,
Polyphia managed to make sexy music cool and also cool in the metal scene. So you've heard Look But Don't Touch of Polyphia. The videos of the stripper when they take the fucking dishwasher out
the tablet.
Exactly. So basically in that song, it's heavy, it's 7-string distortion, and then he goes into the most amazing cleans, which again are sexy sounding. So it's like they managed to make heavy and sexy cool.
Yeah.
So, and I think Steve Vai did that before with the guitar in another style, with another way. That's why I said
Steve is
he's as technical, just different. So he doesn't use the speed.
Speed, because technical we can see with Teeth of the Hydra with the triple neck that he did. That's just nuts.
His timing is probably like
that's just
weird.
Insane.
Is probably better.
But that comes from
It's what he did. Tim Henson did progressive, so he's used to shredding, and he managed to put shredding into like fun-sounding trappy music. I don't know how to explain it.
No, it's more melodic, but it's still very technical, right?
So I was gonna tell you, I think this relates to streaming, because the reason I brought it up was this: like, I want to test something out. Now I don't know if it would work because of people's time. So I'm thinking, I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing the game show. There are cool and good moments that come out of podcasts in the game show. I don't have the time to cut them up. So what I'm interested in trying to do is give all the recordings of the VODs to every streamer and tell them, if you like any content that came out of it and you want to put it up, not on their channels, not for my viewership.
Okay, so you distribute externally.
You can use anything you want from this VOD. For example, I'll give you this VOD. If there's anything you like that you said, this would be cool actually if I put it up without having to fucking credit me or everything. There's LocksTALK podcast written on top. You know, all I'll ask is that maybe if you don't keep the logo, you credit like this was on the podcast, but give it all to other people. So if they said anything they want to repeat or put on their own channels on TikTok, they can do it, not for my viewership. But at the same time,
it's good distribution.
I know people will see it and go, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? So they might check out who I am. They will get the views, but it might be a push towards the channel. So that's one thing I want to try, which is on this new wave of what Polyphia and all these people are doing.
I think that's how it has to happen going forward, right? You
yes.
Cannot...
And another thing, actually, the amount of bands that I found out who they were because of downloading MP3s. So you download a band that will have Slipknot written, but it won't be Slipknot, and then you find out who they are. Like, these guys are fucking cool, and they get their album. So this whole free distribution thing sucks.
Misnamed.
Yeah, exactly.
Tracks.
But it sucks at the same time. People are pirating your shit, but at the same time, people are annoying. So, for example, Club Murder. You go on these Russian fucking torrent sites, and you'll find their album there. So a part of you goes, there goes our sales, because that's the only way bands make money.
But now they know you in Russia.
But exactly, now they know me in Russia. Now, so if you tour, if you do these things, there's more odds. People get to know you, get to know who you are. It helps.
Like mid 2000s, right? So I was learning to DJ, and back then I was big into hard techno. So it doesn't even exist as a genre anymore. because everybody stopped playing it. So it was mostly Germany and South Americans, and that was like forums back then. Going into forums, and the DJs would come here eventually in events, and we'd meet them. And I remember we used to uh, create tracks in FL Studio, and what else did we have? We had FL, we had Ableton. What was the other one? Reason. Um, and all these tracks that all these DJs made, I mean, they'd be released in long plays anyway, which we'd buy because we were still really heavy into long plays in the mid 2000s anyway. But they would post all their tracks on the forums anyway, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you take them and you play them," because you're just playing my track.
Exactly.
If people ask what you're playing,
they get to know who
you'll
you
say
are.
it's this guy's.
Yeah.
They know me. Now they want
Exactly.
me because it's my. You didn't take my track. You're just playing it.
Exactly. It's the
as a
same exact
DJ.
format. You got paid
So-
to play the song. You got paid, not me,
yeah.
but you gave me
Yeah,
publicity
but you gave
and
me
it
exposure,
helps.
and that started
Exactly.
happening because a lot of people in the more underground scene didn't have representation from a label, or the
Yes.
label was very underground, so it wasn't about the money.
You know who
it
was like
about
that? Do
getting
you
up.
remember the horrorist?
Of course, yeah.
He was very much that because I had spoken to him for quite a while. Like we had gone out and got quite fucked up together. He had very similar mentality already back then, Ostia. But I think this
Yeah,
is the new
But that comes
way.
from the underground scene, and now it's more public because everyone's doing it. Because here's my stuff, play it, whatever.
So I started agreeing with it when once I heard in season 2 of Game of Thrones. I wasn't even seeing Game of Thrones yet. But season 2 was out. The director said, someone asked him, he told him, "What do you think? And how do you feel that you are the most pirated series
cares?
on
That's
the
good. That's a
internet?"
good sign.
He said that's a compliment. And when he said
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, but these are people stealing. And then it clicked. I was like, no, wait 1 second. A lot of people aren't willing to pay, so they wouldn't know about your shit. They wouldn't pay for it. This way, they know about it. So now the next one they might pay because maybe you won them over. And I really think it should be that way. I think piracy is impossible to stop because the internet,
No,
whatever
yeah,
is there,
no,
is there. So you might as well take advantage of it by like making sure you're everywhere, sort of thing, by giving it for free. I
mean,
guess.
there's no telling that you wouldn't buy merch anyway. For instance,
Yeah, there's the
could.
there's the option, but more than merch, it's like, for example, when the Joker came out, I was like, oh my fucking god, why are they going to ruin even more fucking superheroes? You do not make an origin story of the Joker. There's no origin story of the Joker. They ruined all these films. The Joker comes out and I'm in love with it. I was like, this is one of the best fucking things written. Like, if there is anyone who could like bring out a story of the Joker without there being a backstory of the Joker, it was this guy, the way he directed it.
Yeah.
So I'm a giant fan of Spawn. Spawn is everything fucking to me. So I found out first they had done the movie of Spawn. I was too young to realize it was shit. It was good, but so what years later I was like, wow, they really like did a bad job. McFarlane hated it. Everyone trying to do Spawn movies. He doesn't want to give it to anyone. Now they're gonna do a Spawn movie, and I was like, who's gonna do it? Apparently the guy who did Joker. Now Spawn is perfect for a psychological thriller of a damaged person. Blah blah. Perfect. So now I'm like, because I saw
You have the high
Joker,
expectation now.
not only high expectation, I'm 100%. I'm happy and approve that if there is anyone who should try do an attempt at Spawn, it's this guy. So it's sort of the same thing. You get that stamp of approval, and now I will see your next thing. I will pay for your next thing. So I think it is the new way
if
of
there's
promotion.
something- I mean, we can say the same for games, right? If you did a really shit job the first time around, then
No one's gonna really trust you again. Like Warzone, every time it comes out, everyone's like, "Is this gonna be broken straight away?" Rather than, "Oh shit, it's broken." What like it's what's supposed to be. And this started from the conversation, in fact, about streamers and multi-wec. And that is where I think the core of the fucking problem that we have here is that instead of everyone trying to give free so everyone can ride off each other and hopefully someone blows up and then he can
That's
pull
not-
you
that's
with you,
that's
it's
what's going
this
to happen.
stupid competition of I
That's
had
not
more
going to
views
happen.
than me, he has this, I won't share my subs with him, I won't,
And
I won't rate him. It's so
I
childish
was
and
watching an American streamer back in 2017, and she was playing Final Fantasy 14 is the online, yeah, FF14, yeah. And when I was watching her, she had about 5 concurrent viewers, which was sort of the same amount of viewers I used to have. So we had this sort of small community of people which had different time zones and the same sort of viewers, so we could just raid each other and was nice and cozy. And when she got affiliate, I was one of the first people who subbed back in 2017. I think I'm still subbed to her today. The only person I'm still subbed to permanently. Um, and she's partner now. I didn't get there, but I helped her since day one. I whatever she needed in relation to the stream, if she needed to improve anything, technical help, and she got there. She managed to get there. I'm not trying to get, and that's how you should be with people who are local to you. Like to me, it doesn't matter. Why would I do? I don't know how many hours I've spent doing those OBS tutorials. They're there. I recommend them to everyone here in the country, and whenever they need something, I just say, "Come to me." I could keep all that information to myself and not do anything.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, you don't need to know.
The fact that you did that, and I completely agree. That's like the way to go. Like you have to share your stuff, and hopefully, like you mentioned, the streamer. Hopefully, the streamer will make it big enough to one day look back and say, let me raid NGEN. Let me, you know what I mean? And start trying to throw people your way.
And even if they don't, I'm fine. So you never expect anything from anyone. If they don't want to raid me,
exactly. And the fact that you don't expect it makes it better. Like, for example, once Torky raided me. Man, I don't expect fucking Torky to raid me. He's wasting his raid on me, you know what I mean? But when it happened, I was like, fucking holy shit, man. Exactly. It's like really nice to get that type of help. So some people do look back when
the expectation, nice. I think the issue is that a lot of people expect to just get.
Yeah, entitlement.
In my case, I don't care. I'll give. Don't need to give me back. Whatever. When you get to that level, and by the way, it's not easy to get to a point that you say, take this off me, and do whatever you want with it. It's yours. Use it. And people would. I mean. It's like doing a job and giving everyone the secrets of the job, right?
Yeah.
And some people ask me that. It's like, yeah, but what if another guy comes and you give him all this information and then he takes your job? Like, yeah, he learned my skills because I taught him my skills, but he is not me. And he's not how I deal with things, how I build the relationship with the client, what I give the client. So I'm not worried about people coming in.
People don't understand that even like if I'm giving someone advice, it's very different than living the advice and going through it, first of all. So when you go through it, you have a very different understanding to just knowing the advice. Like a lot of people know how you're supposed to get rich and save, but
of course.
How many people manage? There are a lot of obstacles. Going through it is different than actually knowing the information. So 100% I agree with you there.
It's hard for, and I think that's a big issue with people in Malta, at least. I'm sure it's a problem worldwide, but I don't watch enough people outside of the country to.
No, I think being an island makes that a bigger problem. Like,
yeah, I mean, you and I stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if in my mind the only thing is how am I going to take things from LocksTALK? How am I going to take his viewers? Why does he have more viewers than me? Why am I doing that to myself? Why am I even bothering?
You're not allowing yourself to even think of something original.
Yeah, you're not releasing yourself. Your limit now has become these other streamers around me and what they're doing. But they're doing this, so let me do this like they're doing it. But okay, he has 2 more viewers than me. How? But that's not the limit. That's not. If you lock yourself into that, you've already lost the game.
Yeah,
right?
You put yourself.
You're not moving.
If you're thinking like that, you're already limiting yourself to only the Maltese community. Because if let's say I'm streaming and a new guy comes up and a year later he has triple my viewership, I could say, what the fuck, I've put more work into it, I have better this, but at the end of the day, he found a way to make it happen.
Going to get you?
And second of all, this is the thing, which happens in a lot of different jobs. These people aren't taking food off your plate, man. You know what I mean? If the food off your plate is only the Maltese viewers, if that's only who you're around, don't fucking stream. Or just do it for fun. Don't expect growth.
Yeah, that's not...
Because it's the world, man. So no one's taking food off your plate by doing well. So when I see NGEN, you start getting 300 views a week. You
happy
should
for them.
exactly, man. Be happy because
They
he
got
might.
there.
They
You
got
know
there.
this guy.
Study him, not criticize him.
Yeah.
See how the fuck he got there, and don't copy him. But like, try understand.
And never ever say someone got lucky. Only very, very few people get lucky.
Listen,
And
what was the fucking
work.
saying?
It's work, not luck.
What was this? There's a saying. It's a really good saying. I forgot it, so I'm not going to fuck it up. But it's on the along the lines of that luck only works when you were prepared. So when you have done
I
your
think it makes
job,
sense, yeah.
when you've done your job
Yeah.
well, when you were prepared and you're ready to do it, and luck hits you, you can make it happen. If luck hits you and you're not well prepared, nothing happens. And a good example of this is every single person who won the American lottery, who wasn't rich and all of a sudden had 10 million, within the next 3 to 5 years were completely broke again.
Yep.
So, and then the people who won the money, who are already rich, have made more money off it because they know it, they have the experience, and they know what they're doing. So if luck hits you and you're not prepared, you're going to fuck your luck up, and then it's all on you. So if luck hits you and you are prepared, you're going to do good things. So most people who got lucky, they made it because they were prepared. There are some fucking odd one out who got lucky and just made it because they were the first, or they
If they bank on that, that's not
exactly.
Going to get you.
And
you cannot bank on luck
and
at all.
I'm seeing T-Spark. Something he wrote before was like a lot of people think that the Twitch streamers are like just chill at home streaming, and he said they're all the content creators, not just Twitch. It's a daily struggle in your head. What the fuck am I going to film tomorrow? What am I going to do different tomorrow? What am I going to do and that tomorrow? A few people like Aiden Ross can just sit down at the computer and just start chatting and have all those people out
to be able to do certain things, you need.
Most of the time it's a lot of preparation. So again, back to the luck thing I was saying. If I have a half-ass shit happening and someone raises me with 30 viewers, I'm not even keeping 2 of them. But if I'm well prepared, I'm doing a good job, and those 30 viewers stumble upon my shit, I might keep 3 of them. You know what I mean? And that's how you grow, by being like sort of prepared in a way.
I think we have another issue locally that I see, and I think a lot of people recommend it, and I don't. So maybe I'm going upstream compared to the general opinion. But a lot of people say collaborate with streamers your size. Yes, but not in this country.
Yeah, when I do it, I don't do it for any gain. I do it because it's fun to play with my friends.
Like this is fine. So a podcast is fine. I am invited here. We're not.
Yeah.
You know,
but I'm not expecting.
But if you're collaborating in trios or whatever, why you have this? So first of all, the 3 of you are streaming at the same time. Great. So how many people
are actually watching? Exactly.
All the viewers have to watch all 3 of you, or just one? Like, what's going on? You have the same viewers. You have the same pool. You're targeting the same people. Stop it. If you want to collaborate, the best, for me at least, the best thing. Or people to collaborate with is people who are not going to clash with you.
All right, this is the way I see it. Like, collabing is fun. It's a cool thing to do, but
I'll
don't
do it every now and then, but don't do it constantly.
No. Even if you're gonna do it constantly, don't do it as because I collab
you have
a lot.
To do it for fun.
Exactly.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
So if you're already big and you have your own viewers, fine. But if you're doing it to try to get viewership, that makes no sense. And another thing that I have been shittily criticized upon, even though I do it myself, I don't believe in raiding your Maltese friends.
I don't really raid much anymore.
As in, I do it, but because I know, like, I'm not looking for this to be my job. But because I'm not doing it as my job, I'm not doing this as my daily struggle to make this my full time. So for the streamers who basically do this as their full time struggle, I know it's nice to give viewers to your friends and it's appreciated. Great, but at the end of the day, give viewers to another foreigner whose viewership don't know who the fuck you are, that you even exist.
The best grades I've given and received were from random people.
That's what I mean. If you're doing it to receive, you have to do it that way.
It's random.
Exactly.
These
random.
Guys don't know me.
He might raid you as a thank you in return the next stream, and you have a completely new 15 viewers from another. For example, I'm saying 15 because right now there are 15.
I've played with these guys. I mean, not knowing it, a guy raided me, an American guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I play Battlefield as well. I play on I play on console. I'm like, yeah. And I found out this guy was one of the highest rated console players in the world. I'm like, whoa. And he's like, okay, well, we spoke a bit, and he's like, yeah. In a few days, I'll come. I'll get my controller, get my PC, and we can play some games together. I'll play on controller on PC. I'm like, wow, amazing. And this guy, and I'm playing with this guy. It's like not part of the Maltese community, just way outside the box, and I'm having fun playing with this. We don't stream at the same time. He's just playing with me in his downtime, and I do the opposite.
And that's the thing,
And
though,
that
NGEN.
works.
That's the thing. I think a lot of people in Malta are pushing to try and make their stream better, and they're doing the right thing. But I think people
And then you
need to
get into
push
these little things that don't.
foreign collaborations. Like, for example, I have the podcast. I'll tell you exactly till when. It's by the 31st of January, I think. I'm going to make sure. I think 31st of January will be the... No. Yes, 31st of January will be basically the end of the podcast, like as a season, sort of thing. So there'll be a small break, and I'm going to start again.
Yep.
My goal is to get as many foreign streamers or esports players as possible onto the channel next. I'm going to have more locals. I'm going to have people I re-invite again, but that's going to be my goal. I need to get
expanding.
Exactly. I want my chat to go, I know nothing about this guy. I never even saw him. Who the fuck is this guy? And I want his viewers to do the same about me, and then hopefully go onto my channels and say like, this and this is happening and I like it. So that's my next goal. So if I could give any opinion, because that's what I was going to ask, if you have any opinions for any streamers, like if I could give any opinion to a streamer myself, it would be that multi-streamers, try push to make your foreign friends, so you collab with foreign players, you share with foreign players, you raid with foreign players, because I think it's your only way out to start getting a few people from here, from there. And I notice it with, for example, I watch Torquay a lot. He's probably the person I watch most, because he plays Tarkov. Well, I love the guy, and obviously he plays the game. So, obviously, they raid each other so much. I noticed there's like a community of people. I noticed
It's the same people.
It's the same people moving, giving. But what's happening is it's quite a big community. So without wanting to, I notice all these start with like the 30, goes on to 60 viewers. By the end of the stream, they're at 100 because they're all giving each other. And every time they are collecting new viewers, they're collecting new subs. They're doing it genuine because new people are watching you and going, I like this guy, I'm going to keep on watching him.
So you keep on,
rather than let's go say hi to the next guy I know, sort of thing. So I understand helping, and every now and then it's nice to...
Collabing is not helping.
But if you're doing it exactly to grow, you need to try get your foreign contacts, you need to try speak to...
Especially if you're still a really small streamer, right? So
especially...
So I don't have the same amount of... the same kinds of viewers as most Maltese people do, because I focus on completely not the Maltese.
Yeah.
So I don't have the same viewers. But say, for instance, yourself and Spooner. You'll have a lot of viewers who are similar. So if you raid Spooner, you probably already raided him with his followers. So what's he gaining from that?
They probably were going to go watch him or come watch me anyway, because if he closes the stream, they'll come onto mine, vice versa.
So you're collabing together for what?
Yeah.
If it's not for fun, then
exactly.
If you're
in fact,
trying to gain something from it, then what did you gain?
No, there's no gain. There's no gain. The only way there was a gain was when I started streaming. When I started streaming and I streamed at the same time as Spooner. Yes, he was telling people, LocksTALK is blah blah blah. Go.
You got the initial exposure.
But eventually we stopped. Eventually we play with each other on stream because we have good chemistry, so it's someone to talk to also as you're playing, good gameplay sort of thing.
That's fine.
So we don't in any way do it exactly. So people who do this for growth are doing it wrong. So I think all you have to do is go on Twitch, scout, do your homework, find people who play similar games to you, who speak in English, who have similar viewership as you. Go on their Twitter and start messaging every single fucking one of them. We have similar viewership. I want to grow my viewership. I can help you grow your viewership. Would you like to do some games? Just be straightforward about it. Don't even try to be stingy about it where they're like, why is this guy trying to take my views? So I think that's the best way to do it, sort of thing. Just contact people. Out of 10, you might hit 1 and you might gain 2 viewers. You might gain a good friend. You might gain good chemistry, whatever. You might try new games together. So you're kind of expanding every time.
Viewers came. It was just people we rated. Like either a viewer said, well, this guy is streaming. I like this guy. So let's go to this guy.
Exactly. Like there,
I play a game I like. Why not?
I always sort of when someone rates someone else, I watch them. If I like them, I'll follow them and keep on watching them.
Yeah.
If after a while I don't like them, I unfollow so I don't have a full clog of people
Yeah, because then
on
it's
my
a
stream.
list. Yeah,
But if I like them, I keep them there. And there are people who I
Yeah.
don't really watch, but I like them. But I'll be watching other people and I don't remove them. Like I keep them there because
I
like
still have the,
respect.
I
I
know
like what
you
you're
mean.
doing. Like I want to
keep the same
support.
thing. Yeah.
As that.
And
So-
a lot of the ones I have grown, like 100+ concurrent viewers. I mean, way bigger than I would have expected them to be by
Man,
now.
one day they might
well
look
done,
back and
great.
help you. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm hoping, for example, like since the game show is like original on Twitch, let's put it this way, like the way I'm doing it maybe is a bit
Yeah.
original. I'm hoping that if I had to contact maybe some streamers who might have raided me and tell them like, I know you're bigger than me, I know only I'm gaining from this, what I can give you is fun in return, you know, like check the game show out, you can have fun with your friends because this is generally something fun to play with your friends. So and like I'm saying, I'll give you content, I'll give you the VOD for free, do what you want with it, sort of thing. Just leave my logo or just give me a mention if you remove the logo, but it's a help sort of thing. So those are the things that I'm really going to be focusing on. Like, so I guess we're on the same page here. Like, try to hit
I
foreign.
think everyone should be on that page.
But a
because
lot
I've
of
been on
people
that page
aren't.
For years.
Yeah, but a lot of people
and
aren't.
And the mistake is that they keep saying this and they shouldn't.
It's weird because a
And
lot
I don't
of them.
know. I honestly don't
push.
know where it came from. Because when it was still just 5-6 of us streaming 8 years ago,
Yeah, but
nobody
still.
rated each other. But why? It's like, and now all of a sudden the community grew. It is like what? There's a big number of us, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's just inbreed basically. Because that's what you're doing.
I think
It's
you have
just
to.
inbreeding.
I think people need to learn how to separate a community from your growth. Your
And they're
community
your
is
friends. If I don't,
exactly.
he's my friend. I'm not going to raid him. Doesn't mean he's less of a friend.
Exactly. And the community is there because they're your friends, you're from the same island, you're growing together. So it shouldn't be a dependency.
I don't even need to be in any of the community pages and whatever because I don't really target any of the local stuff. I really don't. And I'll say it frankly,
Yeah.
I don't care because it's not my market. I don't
Yeah.
care.
No,
But
and
I'm
you're
in
right.
them because if people need help, I'll help.
Exactly.
I post loads of technical stuff if you need help.
But that's it.
And I don't ask for anything. I
But
give it to you. You
you're-
need help, I'll help.
But you're doing what I said, so you know that
Yeah.
your community is your fellow local friends who stream
what
like
it
you,
is.
so there is that support. But support as a friend, it's not support to try help you grow, because I can't help you grow, you can't help me grow.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get you on the podcast, more people
I
might
watch
view
almost
you,
nobody locally. Just almost have maybe I watch Spooner when he has events, so I can help him out.
Exactly.
Be in the chat. I don't.
And-
I rarely go and watch Spooner in his regular streams.
And it's
I
a
I
full-
don't have time to watch anything. But
that's
if I
another
have
thing.
to, I go in and support. Right.
And it's a full circle engine also, because for example, let's say next season I have a lot of foreign, I managed to get a few foreign people. If people like the podcast, they might go onto YouTube and watch my other videos, and guess what? They might discover NGEN, they might discover Spooner. So sort of thing, like it will help my community by not working with my community, you know what I mean, sort of shit. So I think it's valuable for people to try get themselves out there. This is the same thing with music, man. Whenever a band makes it abroad and the name Malta starts being mentioned, people go, there are a couple of good bands in Malta, and they start listening and,
And
they
then
say,
they start getting
you know,
the
they
albums,
might look for Maltese bands. They
You'll
might
try to.
exactly, or they might say, these are the guys from the same country, or they play in the same bands, and you listen to them also.
Man,
So
I did it when I was at work in Cyprus. I was at a bar and I heard Greek trap, and I was like, shit, I need this on Spotify.
exactly,
And I have
so,
a playlist with Greek trap on like,
but it works, man.
you know,
It's-
I heard one, I'm like, okay, good, let's start looking up.
and
All
it
I
is,
needed was the cue that this thing exists.
and it's like a funnel at the end of the day. Like you'll get 2 viewers from here, which eventually will be 4 from somewhere else, which will become 6 from somewhere else, 8 next.
Like I
So-
said, this American streamer had 5 of us initially. Now she has over 100
exactly.
every single time. She's partnered. She lives off Twitch. It's her full time.
That's a nice.
She gets invited to panels at TwitchCon now. So
oh, nice. So still.
that sort of thing. And I was there help. I still she doesn't need my sub.
No,
right.
but
But I
if
still
everyone
sub.
thinks like you, she
It's
would
the
need the sub.
Yeah,
Because it's
but
all the people like you that
I
support.
hardly get time to watch her now because she streams at proper American time. So she then
Late.
like 5 a.m.,
4 a.m.
6 a.m., 4 a.m. So I cannot really make it, but I was there initially. I supported. She grew. I didn't, but I mean, she did a good job with it.
Yeah, and like we
Great.
were saying before, you could look at her shit and say like, what did she change? Where did things change? Where did things get better? Like, because a lot of people get stuck in.
And she's not the most amazing technical
I,
person. Her
I
screen
have
doesn't
to.
look like a.
I have
you
to
know.
mention two names because I get worried that they think I'm referring to them. So I know, for example, Spooner and Taika are working a lot on rebranding and on doing their shit properly like that. So I'm not referring to them when I'm saying it. But a lot of people.
Rebranding is something different.
No, but what I'm trying to say is there are people who, and I'm not. I mentioned their names so people know I'm not talking about them indirectly or trying to like pass some comments about them. That's why I mentioned their names. But for example, you'll be trapped doing something wrong, and you'll be working really hard to revamp something you're doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again,
you
I
do
am
it
not
wrong the
talking
second
about them.
time.
That's why I mentioned them.
you do it wrong
So
the second
so
time.
you'll be a hustler putting all that time and work into something, but you're putting it into a broken engine sort of thing. So it's pointless. And the hustler, it's a waste of time. So sometimes people get trapped doing something the wrong way, and that's the problem. And they keep on trying to make the problem nicer, but at the end of the day, there's still a problem that's not being solved.
Yeah.
I see that with a lot of like growing streamers who get to a point where they just get stuck.
It's not an easy thing to go
It's
around.
difficult, man. It's difficult. Anything is difficult to get an audience,
And
man.
people sometimes don't take they don't take criticism nicely, right? You
Yeah.
could take me to any stream, and I could tell you what's wrong with your. I mean, what's wrong technically? What's wrong with your overlays?
Yeah, what
what's
could be
wrong with
improved,
you
eh?
as a person? What's wrong with your community? I can tell you everything, but you don't want to hear that. So
No,
why would
it's
I?
true. No,
And
it's,
even if I say it,
you're
you'll
right.
just say I'm wrong. So
You're right. People get
and that's
defensive.
most of the community. Yeah.
People get very defensive instead of maybe see it as fuck. Maybe there's something right and it needs to be changed. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting criticism, even if you're getting annoyed about what you're hearing, if your stream has been the same for a certain amount of years without growth, maybe it's the time to start listening to people. And John has grown a lot though, if he grows anymore.
Yeah. But now my wife is doing the same, so we're sort of neutralizing.
She's growing.
Yeah, I mean, there's another person inside her now.
Yeah, but that will go, huh?
So yeah, that will go, and then I'll have a moon orbiting my wife.
Oh yes, you will,
If
Angel.
people start taking criticism well, right? So, and it doesn't need to be something. The first step, and the one step I took when, streaming is different than production. Production you're getting paid for, and you're rendering a service, right? If I'm streaming, I'm doing it for myself. So there's extra pressure to do this nicely. So I always go in with the premise of something went wrong. I'm going to do something wrong, right? So how do I improve on this that I've already done? And if in your mind there's always something wrong, and not necessarily because it's wrong, but in your mind, you have to keep that there's something wrong that you can improve, or maybe not wrong even, but just something you can improve on. Then you're always one step ahead of that, of receiving that criticism. Because when you get criticism, then you're like, okay, maybe I am not seeing this. Maybe they're right. Why are they saying this? That's an important question, because some people just say it because they want to be shit.
Yeah, what is the motive exactly? Is there a motive? Exactly.
Where is it coming from? If someone says, this particular thing happened 1 hour into your stream, and I did not enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, so what happened? Let me go and review that and see what happened. How do I improve that? And it could be something simple. It could be LocksTALK muting himself constantly. And he'll try to find a way how, even the simplest thing. But it could be something bad, like, why is my PC doing this? What's happening? Take your time. Instead of saying, okay, I have to stream tomorrow because I stream every single day of the week. But there's an issue. Stop, sit back, look, take a break. Take a day off if you need to fix something. If you need to analyze something. If something's really bad, just sit down, look at it, and figure out what happened, how you can improve it. And if you don't know how, go to someone you trust. Mods are a good example, and your friends who watch you. They're your friends, they should tell you what's wrong.
Your friends will tell you that's wrong.
That's what I used to do when I released the first reviews in
and it doesn't mean you do it in chat. Like, I mean, like, some
No,
people
no,
can
do it
private
privately.
chats
You
where you
don't
actually
need to
ask
do-
like, what
no,
am
no.
I doing?
Do it privately. That's what I used to do. I used to put a video when I did the first reviews on YouTube. I post it, put it as unlisted, get the link, get a few friends, send the link, and tell them, watch this. Tell me what you think, and be honest. Like, and some would say, but maybe you were a bit monotone in this, and that's something I had initially. I was quite monotone when I was doing the review. So the review was nice and technical, and you could get information
Yeah.
out of it,
But
but it was boring.
the way you're sending out the
Yeah,
information.
the delivery was really boring. So I was like, okay, instead of saying, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, I went back, I watched the video, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not as colorful as it should be. Right. So
Sometimes it's the guy who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about that can give you the right opinion, you know?
yeah, you need a person. If it's a YouTube video, I don't need a technical. I don't need you as a videographer to look at the video, because what you're going to tell me is, maybe you could change the lighting.
Technical.
But people don't care about what the
No,
lighting is. They care about the
sometimes
content.
people don't understand. Sometimes people, for example, will see a video and say, that looks really nice. I have the same camera. I don't know why mine doesn't look that good. So they won't
Yeah, of
even know
course.
why. But those people will point out yours doesn't look that good. It's the same thing with film. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with music. Like, for example, when I have like my creative process sort of thing, when I finish something, I always make sure I ask an honest friend who will just tell me it's shit, fucking throw it away, you know, that sort of thing. I always ask a technical person. And then, for example, if it's something to do with like sports, music, printing, like my wife understands to a certain extent certain things that she knows because I do them, but she's not
Okay.
a professional at them. So I
Yeah,
would
so you're
want
like,
her
look,
opinion.
The end product.
Exactly. I would want, like, what does the general public who only knows a bit about this think about
Yep.
it? Because if you know what's going on, sometimes it's very easy to go, oh, see, that's really like that's done really well, but you won't be noticing like the main picture, something's missing or something's too much, or so that's one thing. And another thing I noticed is because people do try to take opinions. Like, for example, I give opinions indirectly, like we're doing on this podcast.
Yeah.
And then later I noticed people mentioning them. So for example, I mentioned Peshel and Jake both mentioning how they now control their Discord. Because I passed some hints that sometimes it's unbearable. You can't have kids screaming on Discord because you don't want to watch the stream anymore. And they took it as good criticism. And they said, shit, it's true. This doesn't only annoy me because it annoys them too, the player. It annoys the people watching me. So no, fuck you. Like, if you're going to be on my Discord, like, if you shout when it's fun, good. But all the screaming to be the center of attention it's not your show. It's their show. But I love it when I see people say like, yeah, that's something I should do, and it helps them out because you don't have certain problems. So some people, like, luckily, they listen.
I mean, the first impression of a stream shouldn't be, and for me at least, it's not the technical part. So as soon as I go into someone's stream, if I hear kids screaming, if I hear someone swearing in Maltese, and if it's a kid swearing in Maltese on your stream,
It's
I'm
an
like,
instant
I
fuck
don't
this.
even care how shit your overlays look. I'm out. That's
exactly.
We're not doing this. And you've already just lost the game there. You've lost it. I'm not interested. That's it.
Like the background, the overlays, the good branding. It like enhances.
It's an extra.
What you do.
For me as a broadcast person, great, amazing. I love doing
No,
it.
I see it like it enhances what you do. So if let's say you have a really nice, good setup, but then you're really shit or you're really vulgar, it's going
not
to
help you anyway. Yeah.
No, I think it would make it look even worse. It will enhance
Probably,
whatever you're
'cause you've
doing.
put all of this work into it, and
Exactly.
then you're just dragging it down because you're an idiot.
And
really.
don't get me wrong, I like, obviously it's part of my job, and as you can see behind me, I put a lot of time into the way my stream looks. So I'm really all for trying to make your stream look well, but it doesn't make the streamer. And I wrote this actually in the post we were talking about lately. It doesn't make the streamer. Like, at the end of the day, it's you trying to do either good content or play well or be entertaining or be funny, and then that shit will help you.
Four guitars, and I'm sure people with less guitars than me can play better than I do. So it doesn't mean anything, right? It just means I have more guitars than he does.
And so sometimes, some people could be rich. Some people could be, for example, I don't know, let's say not like normal examples, not a rich person. If you're someone who's in your 30s, 40s, who has a full-time job, and you're someone who's just come out or going to university, obviously I can afford to buy more shit for my stream than you can. Maybe a better camera. Maybe I
Yeah,
can afford.
that's also an important thing.
Yeah, living alone.
Because when I started out, I had nothing,
Yeah, obviously we all had shit.
and I couldn't afford anything because
That's it. And even room, like most people have to do with what they have in their bedroom, so their parents won't let it. Once you live in your own house, you have more liberty to do your thing. So there are the advantages that are going to help you. But at the end of the day, you could have all the secure
I think
money
it
and
comes
shit to do
with-
things. It won't
with
change a thing.
determination as well, right? So I have this huge space here now for the last just over a year now. So all of this space didn't exist when I started streaming, right? So this is, I mean, massive 2.5 meter and another over a meter desk on that side, just one desk. And this is amazing for me now. But when I was still at my parents' house, my desk was a DIY 90 centimeter piece of wood. That's all I had. And on that, I had my camera, and the camera on an arm, the mic
Yeah,
on
you
an
make
arm,
do, man.
monitors on arms, and I could fit almost this entire setup in that 90 centimeter space. And the worst excuse I always hear is, oh, and I have no space. But you're not determined enough to make that space
Yeah,
work
exactly.
for yourself. That's the problem.
My first
It's
stream,
not that it's small.
I remember connecting a shitty old tablet through this shitty app that barely worked to my PC, so I can have a secondary monitor. Everything was the delay. If you try going into the
Yeah.
mouse, everything is delayed. But it helped because I had an extra stream to see what the hell is going on OBS at
Yeah.
least. So no, this
It's determination.
I
It's
wish I could show you. Oh, I have to remove my camera. So I have quite a cool setup, but then on top I have one of the lights, which you've seen. I've used at the academy, the LEDs, the panel. But
Yeah.
I wanted barn doors around it to control the light in my room, so I can bounce it on the ceiling to just hit my background and not touch my light, so I can control my light completely.
Yeah.
I got cardboard. I built barn doors. I put foil.
DIY.
I stuck foil with duct tape. I fucking
Yeah, if you have to, and it's not. People don't understand how much shit is hidden behind the scenes.
yeah. So and
especially at events.
Isma, at the academy, in one of the videos of, one of the videos of one of the lessons when it comes to lighting, I actually show them how to build fucking the shittiest light you can from an ironmonger, but it does the job. And I work in film. I have professional film lights. So, for example, each LED panel was 370 euros, right? Real LED film panel.
Yep.
I have two 18 euro ring lights. These fucking shitty China ring lights lighting me right now. So if you know how to work your lights, you don't need to spend all the money for a stream. If you're doing film, music videos,
I'll show how easy some backlight makes a difference because I can control this from the PC. So there's a little bit of purple over there. It gives some color, right, guys? And that's a €5, €10 maybe Wi-Fi bulb that I can control. If I turn it off, you're going to see the difference that makes. So now it's off, and now there's nothing there.
It's just-
There's nothing. There's no color. If I turn the blue lights behind me off, then there's really is nothing. So I'm making this space, and that €10 did that bit of effect. It's just €10.
And also for people who are into lighting and or maybe trying to fix their light in the stream, it's very important. This is like one of the rules of film, that the subject, which is you, and the background are completely separate controlled lighting. So for example, let me switch like this. Like I'm going to just turn off two lights, which I'm using to control me. So this is what the stream would look like if I turn off my lights.
And he's gone.
It's shit. It's fucking. So I'm not touching anything in my background. My background is the same, but once
I turned mine off. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. See what I mean? So the important thing is that when you're doing lights, I lost my light. 1 second. You always regulate. You're lit up one way, and your background is lit up one way. If your light bleeds onto the background, regulate how much light you put on the background, because you're always going to have some bleed. And what's very important, which is why some people have a shit picture and some people have a really nice 3D sort of looking image, but you have the same cameras, is backlight. Every time you have a light behind you, it creates a small shine around your chair, around your shoulders, and that really pulls you out of the background. So once you switch the lights from the back, you just, like, in fact, you switched your light from the front. Like, you don't look 3D. It looks very blend now. It looks very flat, the image. So with lights, you control and make
Try
things
turn it
3D.
on. Let me turn it on.
So like most people are more obsessed with buying expensive light rather than understanding how light works.
It's
So
also a cheap ring light. It's a big one, but it's cheap.
man, I went to I don't know the fuck, it's like a China shop. I ship shit from China in front of
I know
Eurosport.
the ones. Yeah.
I just got 2 clamps, just got 2 €18 ring lights. They have dimmers, they have different from warm to cold, and that's it. Just yeah, AliExpress, everything, man. They work. If you learn how to control your light, you do it with anything. The LED strips in the background, for example, small tricks you do. My chair, my sofa's supposed to be like this. And you see, like, I fucked up the complete effect, so whenever I'm gonna stream, I pull these down. The way they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be like that, but when I pull them down, I create this nice. So when you play with, and that's again like a €20 bitch LED, which I just stuck to the back of the sofa. So learning how the camera works, learning how to control your light is number one before buying any setup, before doing up your own room, because man, I've seen so many nice big rooms and they're just lit up shit and you lose all the effect.
Yeah.
So
you need to put work into that as well if you're going to.
you have to be a bit creative sometimes with the way you lighting. It's smart.
Doesn't need to cost
YouTube,
money.
man. YouTube. Like NGEN was saying,
There's
there's so many
so many
OBS.
things
There's
you
so many things you can learn. Just look up 3-point lighting and you're done. You're done. You learn how to light properly with,
Anything you want to learn.
and you don't even
And
need.
like 10 years ago, we had to figure.
Yeah, and if you exactly, and if you don't have €18 for a ring light, get a lampshade, remove the top part of the lampshade, and just put a cardboard box behind it. Man.
that's
A bulb,
all you
a
need,
bulb
yeah.
is all you need. Just I would go for LED to prevent fires. That's all. So maybe a bit more expensive, but LED bulb
Yeah.
on a fucking PVC pipe with a lot duct tape or glue, and seriously, if you know how to control lights, you can do it all. So
To be a bit more creative.
how long have we been going for NGEN now?
3 hours, 26 minutes
Yeah,
since you started the stream.
All right. So, NGEN, I was going to end it with the most annoying question for gamers. In your opinion, what's the best game of all time?
Yeah, easy. My favorite game of all time.
Wow.
Crash 3 is my favorite game.
Oh,
Come on.
Crash 3. All right.
I
So,
speedrun the
so
entire
exactly.
trilogy,
So,
Crash 3.
NGEN is someone who likes to speedrun a lot. So, for people who don't know, he does some speedruns. You haven't done it? Have you done a speedrun stream in a while, or?
I think the last one I did.
I remember a
was
Crash one, the last one you did.
Last Christmas was not the one before. That.
A Crash you
So
were doing.
2021 was the Crash, yeah.
So
And
Crash
I did
3.
it without the Crash 3, the remake, the NCAA
All right.
one.
So that's the best
My
game
favorite
of all
is the
time.
OG, but the remake is just easily accessible.
No Crash questions in next game show, please.
I realized it became so. I need to get back into practice because I really love doing it. But it became such second nature that I did it without timing myself,
Okay.
and I still did it sub 55 minutes. I think,
Oh, okay.
which is not a good time. By the way, it's not a good time at all
But so
because
yeah,
the record is I think 38 minutes or 37
yeah,
minutes.
that's always the
But,
same.
but sub 55 casually.
I remember doing the Portal speedruns and I thought I was good till I decided to look up.
You see the times, yeah.
It was like, how, man? They discovered all the
Crash
bugs in
speedrunning
the maps.
community is amazing because they come in. I randomly, the world record holder I never spoke to before. I wasn't in their Discord. Randomly came to my stream because I was streaming it, and he was like, we just figured out a glitch in this place. And I'm like, oh. He's like, if you don't mind messing the run, I can tell you what we did. And he gave me a YouTube link on how they did it. And it's like, you save X amount of time and whatever, and you need to do this and this. I said, okay. I said, I'll give it a few tries. And I think I did it on the second attempt, and I got up, and he was like, whoa, okay. And then I joined the Discord that night because he was like, yeah, man, you should just come in. And I saw him, a chat message, before I even joined. He was like, guys, I just went in watching. This is the world record holder, by the way. It was just, I just joined this stream and showed the glitch to this guy, and he did it on the second attempt. And I mean, the world record holder is just telling everyone, "Look, this guy did it in 2 attempts." Like, what the?
Yeah,
It's like,
fucking accomplished.
whoa. And I also got to meet, because Kama mentioned it. There's a game called Action Hank, which I saw in GDQ. It's like it's a fun game. It's really nice. I started trying to complete. It's really hard at the end, actually. And I was streaming, like, playing the game, and like the first time I played it, so getting used to it. And a guy comes in, Bad Black Shark, and he says,
Is
"Hi,"
he a
and
known?
so
Is he a
on.
known guy or?
And then first I started speaking, and I was like, wait, hold on. After we started chatting, and he's asking me about the game, and I'm like, oh, hold on. Are you who I'm thinking you are? And he's like, yeah, it's me. And it was the world record holder for the game.
Holy
Again.
shit!
I was like, really? And he's telling me about the game and explaining stuff, and he got me into the Discord. He joined my Discord. Then he started streaming a game called speedrunning a game called Vectronom. He knew the developers, and he actually got me a copy of the game. He was like, "Yeah, you can have a copy of this game, and
Oh, nice
you
man.
can play it." And I'll show you guys at some point. I'll give you a link to see this, because Vectronom is a game that you can play with more than one player.
Oh,
And
cool.
at one point, he controls 2 players at the same time, and he can do it blindfolded.
What the fuck? 2 players blindfolded?
Yeah, it's a game that's based on rhythm, so musical cues, and he can just do the movements blindfolded. And it's not
Holy-
just regular timing. Sometimes they have really weird timing, and he explains that in the runs. But he does it blindfolded, which is.
And
I'll
does
find
someone like this guy like make money from this? Is he like pro in it, or it's?
I mean, he gets featured in GDQ mainly, but I mean, he's not gonna get rich from it. He just does it because, he can do it, right?
Not rich from it, but does he make maybe a paycheck out of it at least, or it's even that's impossible?
Not with these kinds of games, no.
I thought so.
Because they're very indie. So, here it is. He did this 2 years ago, the blindfolded run.
I think you can post in chat. I might have.
I'll
yeah,
try.
try. If not, give it to me. I'll post it. Yeah, you
what?
can.
The guy is.
I'll definitely check him out.
The
It's a
guy's
pity,
nuts.
yes, that they can't make at least a
With
living.
speed
of
running,
Steam.
it's hard because it's again a really.
But you're the
small
best in
community
the
of-
world.
Yeah, you're the best at speed running the game, and it's, by the way, it's impressive because GDQ is in 4 days. That's a full week of speed runs of games.
Vera? Us, yeah.
24/7. Yeah. There's a schedule. I'll give you
Aha,
the schedule as
give
well.
me the, because that's definitely
the
something I want to watch. That's something I
The
would.
entire schedule. So
Is it a
GDQ
stream? What would it be?
It's a Twitch stream. Yeah. It's a charity
Nice.
stream. This is the speed running charity stream,
Oh, nice, perfect.
and
Oh.
you have a list of all the games.
I'll definitely check this out. Give me one
Lots
second,
of
Jen.
Mario
Give
as
me
well.
half a second.
Everyone can see me. He left. Hi. What's Quantum going to ask? I dare to read. Send help. I don't know. I go into stuff unprepared. I get asked questions. I answer. How it usually works, right? I don't mind making a fool of myself.
Sorry about that, but
That's fine.
my dog decides to pick the perfect moments to start slamming on the door to go outside because he knows how to open doors, so I lock the doors. She's fucking piss inside for me. I will definitely watch this though, man. I
They
love
do
that
some,
shit
and
dust,
they
yeah.
do a lot of retro, like proper Mario on Nintendo. Like they do it
that
on the
exactly.
OG consoles, right? So it's really nice to see a full week of games.
And old school, man. Like,
Yeah, they do modern stuff, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be like an Elden Ring run, which they do.
I'll be interested in the old ones to be honest. I'll be interested in saying,
But
holy
there's
shit, I played
Mario,
this game, sort of thing. Because
Castlevania titles.
oh, cool. They do. Did they ever see a Prince of Persia run?
I think Kama might be able to. But I vaguely remember Prince of Persia GDQ.
That I definitely
Yeah,
want to.
2016. They did one in 2016.
Ash Prince of Persia. I remember Prince of Persia used to
2012.
make me cry that game. It's so fucking difficult.
No, they do them. They do them. There are because they have the VODs for everything, so you can see the VODs from the previous runs as well.
I will
It's
definitely
been
check
going
them out for
years,
sure.
so- They raise millions in charity, by the way, so it's
Yeah.
to the millions now. Yeah. Because
I'd love to
they-
see an event like this live. I'd love to go to a place like this.
they market stuff really good because all the dynamic graphics we use at events is because they developed it in the first place because they use it for GDQ first. Then we adopted it as developers
Okay.
to build on it. But they have some interesting things like you donate X amount and you're in the pool to win these things. Sometimes fan made things, replicas of things, so on. And they also have they call them donation incentives. So there are bonus games, for instance, and if they reach 100,000 in X amount of time, they will see this game being played. Or
Yeah.
they do other sort of incentives which are like fun, and people will donate anyway, but you're donating to something interesting. So we're going to play Pokemon Yellow. What should be the name of our Pokemon? The first Pokemon we have. And everyone starts pitching money for a name. And whichever has the most wins, and all the money gets taken for charity anyway. So it's like,
And it's a good
Yeah.
incentive, man.
no,
Definitely.
the,
a good
the incentives
incentive.
are really nice. Like, what type of run do you want this to be? Like, if we're going to have Super Mario, do we want 100%? Do you want any percent? So it's the way they do donations is really interesting. I think.
It's cool because it's like when people do the charity streams and they start getting all fucked up to reach the goals. People want to see those things. So instead of pain, it's like I
Yeah.
want to see a pro go through
Destroy
something
it, yeah.
fast, sort of thing. Yeah,
the,
exactly.
the thing they did that was most amazing was the crowd choice thing. Kama knows what I'm talking about. So they had a Legend of Zelda with a randomizer. For people who don't know, a randomizer is something they modify so things happen randomly in the game.
So the game randomly changes
So you
shits. So it's not
yeah,
like a
you can
speed run. You
start
know
with-
what's happening.
It's still a speed run, but it's a randomized speed run.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
you could start from a different point than the beginning point and you don't get access to a certain item, or you could start the game with an amazing item. And they took it a step further where they gave the people control over the randomizer.
So people can choose
People
what happens.
online in the chat and people in the venue, they had a special access on an app or something, and they chose what happened with the randomizer. So at random points, they started killing him at random. They killed the character, so you have to start over. Or they just flip something the other way. It was amazing. It was really. So it's
So
not
how
just-
does it work though? Like the actual makers of the game
it's
are
an
giving.
API. No. It's through a special modded device that connects to the.
So they're modding the original game
Yeah,
basically.
I mean,
with-
they have amazing developers that can. If it's an old game, if it's a modern game, they can randomize through a PC. Really.
That's cool, huh?
But
It's
it's
really
like the
fucking cool.
AGDQ is a really successful event, so they know they're going to make a good effort in collecting money for charity, right? They know, but every year they come up with something more innovative, new. They do
Ah, yeah, right.
the TASBot runs. I think they're called. Is it TAS? Yeah, it's TAS bot. Yeah. So they emulate the controller, for instance. So instead of connecting your controller to the console, they connect and something that's going to emulate those controls, and they program exactly how the bot will do the speed run. And that, with certain games, that's how they get the theoretical minimum time that you could get if you did
Yeah.
everything perfectly. So you know that's the limit.
Uh,
Yeah,
sh-
as Quantum said,
sh-
they did the Twitch integration as well because they work closely with Twitch
Definitely. I
for
had
GDQ.
no idea
As an
this
event,
even
like,
existed. This is
it's
cool.
amazing to watch for the games. It's amazing to watch for the runs. All the runs have commentary, so usually you get one guy that's playing the game and another, either a previous world record holder or someone in the community that understands the game really well that the runner chooses, and you get the explanation while it's happening.
Cool, man. I'd definitely
So
see this.
Yeah.
I'd love to review something like
Crash
this, man.
3 on the first day.
Vera?
Yeah, and it's
When does
going
it start?
to be run. It starts on the 8th,
On the 8th of
Sunday, 8th of January.
January. Oh, nice.
8:14 p.m. Crash and Sane Trilogy. That's going to be run by a guy called Merkaz, who is someone I got to know online as well. He was a previous world record holder of the game. First time I knew about the guy, I watched him do a race on GDQ. Him, Jay Hobbs, and Cameron Vengeance. They raced Crash 3 Insane Trilogy. That's where I started getting into the Crash 3 run. And I started visiting the guy on his stream. He joined my stream. We played WoW together. We played League of Legends together. This is how you meet people. You don't go to the academy, find Spooner, and stream with him.
Yeah.
Go around.
It's true. It's true. I'll definitely go to look at it. This is fucking cool because that's another thing.
I'll remind you.
I've been dying
just in case.
to stream some retro games, to be honest. But I'm not someone who's really good at them. I just enjoy them, so I don't know if it would be a laugh. They are. But I can't impress
GTA
anyone.
I played GTA Vice City, and the amount of people and followers that I gained from that Vice City stream, nuts.
GTA 1.
Because they love it.
I need to play the one
and
again.
GTA 1 and GTA 2.
It was too fucking good, man. The bird's eye view. It was too fucking
Yeah.
good. Too much, just yeah. NGEN, it was great. We just hit almost a 4-hour mark.
That's good.
What's the time? No, still. Jesus Christ. Yes. I will find someone really quick. These flies. Very nice talk, dude. I'm happy I had you on. I will definitely have.
I just clicked
hopefully,
the flies when you send me the VOD. Just the flies.
Yeah, man. There are 2 flies, and before the podcast, I was trying to fucking kill them. I didn't want to spray the place, and they're driving me fucking nuts, man.
They're still alive.
So, Mela, NGEN, I'm going to see you soon again. So, I'm going to see you. Let's see.
When?
Which game show?
All right, next week.
That's next week, exactly. That's on today week. Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. I will see you again on the game show, and I will wish you luck on the game show. So
you.
let's see. Just chatting. Let's find the girl today. Yeah, let's read the girl. People get
We
really
always
back
say that, and we never used to anyway.
They
We're going out. We're gonna find girls today, guys. No, we're not.
Going.
We're just gonna
fishing.
drink.
So let's see. Fuck, I don't feel like looking that much. All right, yeah, 50 viewers, nice lights. Let's go. So,
It's a benchmark.
what was I going to say? Yes, I will see you next week, NGEN. Thank you very, very, very much for joining. Everyone, go
Thanks for
join
having
all his socials. Go check out his YouTube videos. He has extreme. We didn't even talk about OBS, NGEN. We'll have another podcast and we'll get into some OBS next time. We'll get into some technical stuff. But we're almost going to hit the 4-hour mark. So
No, if I start talking about OBS now, we're going to be here all night.
exactly. So thank you very much for joining, NGEN. Thank you everyone in chat. Thanks for all the feedback also. So we will see you next week for the game show.